Because I'm a little bit, yeah.
Hello, Cleveland! Hello, Cleveland! Fuck you, Mr. Postman. Fuck off, good.
I have no idea what's going on.
Hello and welcome to Out on the Tiles, a music rewind live stream. As you know, Music Rewind is a podcast where we look to tell the stories behind our favorite albums. I'm your host, Steve Epley, and today we are bringing you a plethora of Music Rewind personalities here to talk to you about all the things music or whatever comes up. With us today is a roundtable of previous guests and also future guests for the upcoming Season 3. Rather than introduce myself, I will let them tell our millions of viewers who they are. Luke, go ahead and start us off there.
Hi, I'm Luke. So I always feel like Troy McClure here. You know, hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such episodes as The Who, Quadrophenia, and Radiohead, and Rainbows. I did a couple of the I'm roundtables. I was on a roundtable or two. Did the last live stream, etc. So nice to be here.
My wife did comment how many episodes you've been on. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm here. I'm here for you. Like you said, for the millions of viewers.
Exactly. And Keith, tell us who you are.
My name is Keith Higgins. I am a podcaster living in New Haven, Connecticut. I host a podcast called Abandoned Albums. And first-time visitor, long-time listener.
Appreciate it. And love your show itself. A lot of albums off Abandoned albums that I have. I mean, you talk about, these aren't ones that, just kind of go off the radar of named bands. These are ones never heard of in my life.
Yeah.
Really interesting ones. I like it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, they're. I hear that a lot. They're like, "Wow, I've never heard of that band. I've never heard of that record." And yeah, that's kind of why they're abandoned, I suppose, to one extent.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I remember when we did our rock music forum with we did a podcast of several different music podcasts. We got together and we chatted for a couple hours, and one of the questions prior was, "What's an abandoned album for you?" And it really kind of threw me, because my thought was, and I hadn't listened to your show in detail at that time. I have since, but I haven't. At the time, I was thinking like, well, it's more of a named band, but an album that not everybody gets to. Maybe like In Through the Outdoor or Adam Hart Mother from Pink Floyd. Albums that exist, but they're from a legend label or legend level of band, but yet abandoned from the fan set. That's what I thought it was, but then I listened to your show. Completely, kind of not completely different, but definitely I was a little off track. But I love your show as it is.
Thanks. Yeah, I think the original conceit was to have it be like these mainstream or larger name bands who had records that had been ignored by the populace or whatever. But it's sort of, as these things do, they sort of morph into what they're supposed to be, or going to be.
I missed it. I missed that. What's the podcast again?
Abandoned albums.
Oh, nice.
Thanks. Yeah.
I got some suggestions.
I am all ears. Are we allowed to curse? Because I do curse.
You can say whatever you want as long as you
Please
don't
do.
care what you. As long as you don't care what you say, you can say whatever you want. As long as you don't worry about repercussions.
Well, as Steve said, there are millions of people watching. So
That's true. I should.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Dumb it down. Okay.
We have no sponsors to lose, and we have
Dumb
no.
it down.
actually, yes, I purchased my drink of choice tonight from Drizzly.
Nice.
Drink from Drizzly, whatever that is.
Oh, you got it right. You got it right this
Right.
time.
No,
Yeah.
no. This is a very mainstream drink.
No, I meant plugging the sponsor.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time I
finally.
kind of gave up the ghost there. So
Normally, I would be out in my garage smoking a nice cigar from Gotham Cigars.
yes,
but,
Gotham.
but tonight I am actually in a different place in my house. The new puppy is not too enthused about the garage recording studio. and
Are
Are
how
you
that
in
works.
studio? Are you in Studio B?
Studio B? Yes.
I saw the dog back there. What kind of dog did you get?
I've got a Sheltie and a Beagle.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
nice.
Yeah, wonderful dogs.
Good.
But they just don't like it when I sit outside for 3 hours till 1 a.m. and then come inside and wait. And they're puppies. They wake everybody up.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah.
So Steve, I'm gonna steal the first question if you don't mind. I know we were talking about some earlier, but
Oh, we
I'm
have a
gonna
list
steal it.
somewhere.
No, we were just shooting ideas back and forth. So
Oh, I have a question as well. When we
okay,
get to it.
I hope y'all do. I mean, let loose. Go for it.
okay. So here's what I'm gonna ask of the three of you. So let's assemble the perfect rock band. Can be from any genre.
Oh man.
Could be from any age. Just who is going to be your lead singer, who's going to be your lead guitarist, who's going to be your rhythm guitarist, who's going to be your bassist, who's going to be your drummer. And it doesn't necessarily have to make sense because I am putting you on the spot here because this would take some time. Al, I completely agree. But if you could come up with the perfect band, just off the top of your head, who's your favorite singer, who's your favorite lead guitarist, etc. So that's my first question.
And that's a question that's going to eat into our brains because we're going to overthink every single role.
Understood, but again,
I'll
just
take,
on the spot. So Al's
I'll
going
take-
first.
Yeah, I'll take the Led Zeppelin rhythm section. I will add Jimi Hendrix on the lead guitar. And if I have a rhythm guitar, you said rhythm guitar too, right?
Yep. You need a lead singer and a rhythm guiterist.
Maybe
Or, well, I mean, you
maybe
said
you
you
could go with Malcolm Young, I guess.
Okay.
Because he could, be a serious riff master if he feels like contributing that way. And vocally, I don't know vocally. I'll just say Paul McCartney before he turned 50,
All right.
because his voice went to hell after that.
I can dig it.
Wait, are we going dead or alive here?
No, you do you, man.
All right. I'm going to go up.
Let's hear it, Keith.
All right. So lead guitarist would be Eddie Van Halen.
Oh yeah.
Rhythm guitarist would be Izzy Stradlin.
Wow.
Bass player, Roger Glover. I don't think he gets
Yeah.
enough love from Rainbow and Deep Purple.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see, drummer. Well, we'll keep it in the Van Halen family. And then
Yeah.
we'll go way off with the singer. I'd probably go Janis Joplin.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
I'd listen to that band.
Yeah.
Izzy always gets Izzy gets overlooked all the time, and it's like every Guns N' Roses song you like.
I
He's
love
called
Izzy
that.
Stradlin.
Sure.
I bought his solo albums after he left
For
Guns.
sure. Yeah. Juju Hounds is a great record.
Yeah.
Would you
Is
consider
he
it a
still
lost
putting stuff
record?
out?
I'm sorry. Would I consider the Izzy Stradlin and Juju Hounds an abandoned record?
Yes.
Abandoned album? Absolutely. In fact,
There you go.
I've been trying to get Jimmy Ashurst on the show. I had him on for Broken Homes, and now I'm trying to get him on for Izzy Stradlin as well.
Nice.
I'll never get Izzy. He doesn't do press.
Never say never.
Never say never. That seems an
Yeah.
unlikely get. Be a great get, but yeah.
That would be awesome.
Is he still putting out albums?
He is not.
Yeah,
The
I
last
haven't-
he released a single, I think in 2015 or 16, an iTunes single. That was it.
What do you think he's doing now? Do you think he plays in local bands or goes out or does anything?
You know, I've thought about, because I talk to Jimmy periodically, and I've thought about asking him, but I don't want to pry. The last
Who's the Jimmy you're talking about?
Jimmy Ashurst, he plays bass. He was the bassist in
Oh,
Juju Hounds and Broken Homes and
gotcha.
Buck Cherry and several other bands. But I don't know what he does. He issued a Twitter response when the original Guns N' Roses got back together. He issued a response over Twitter saying the reason he wasn't joining is because they weren't sharing in the pot. It wasn't going to be an equal split. So he's like, "Fuck it, I'm not doing it."
Well,
And
yeah, I can understand that.
I don't know what he's doing. I really don't.
I guess if you don't have to do nothing, that's a great thing.
Yeah, he's in a fortunate position, I suppose.
Residuals
Yeah.
off of welcome.
Hey.
I'm going to step in here and throw mine out there. And I'm still debating on the drummer wise, but from a lead singer, I got to go with Freddie Mercury. I mean, I know that's cliche, but welcome, Jamal.
Yo,
Good to
what's
see
going
you.
on, yo?
We
Good
are
evening.
discussing a.
Can I change my lead singer?
Of course.
We're
wanna say
discussing
Levon-
our ultimate band, putting
Levon
together your
Helm.
ultimate band.
Ooh.
So I'm going with.
Levon Helm.
Thank you, thanks, Al. Okay,
That's my change. You can't copy it.
I haven't said my drummer yet, so I'm going with Levon for my drummer. I love that.
Oh God! All right.
All right, so I got Freddie Mercury as my lead singer, Levon Helm as my
Yeah.
drummer. I'm gonna future steal Luke's Flea as a bass player, and for lead guitarist though, I'm gonna go with Jim West. You may not recognize, but that is Weird Al Yankovic's lead guitarist.
Nice.
That man can play everything you can think of, from classic rock to polka to hip hop. The man can play everything. He has several award-winning Hawaiian style albums. The man's amazing. So Jim West.
Well, let's dig into that. Award-winning Hawaiian albums. Imagine that's a
Leslie
huge
West.
market.
I want to say one of them won a Grammy. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say one of them won a Grammy. But I mean, that's a very unique style.
Sure.
The ukulele style.
Yeah.
Love it or leave it. I was there for 3 years. I can leave it. Not a big fan myself, but when you listen to him on
Is that dude?
what's that?
Is he related to Leslie West,
Oh, I have no idea his
the
lineage.
lead guitar player for Mountain?
Well, hell, I don't know. I
Curious.
just know that he, James West was, he answered. He's one of the guys that answered like an ad for Weird Al when he was coming up. It's like, hey, I need a band. Who wants to play in my band? He's had the same band for decades.
Wow.
And that in itself is phenomenal, let alone
That's
the
impressive,
talent of the
yeah.
guys of all the different genres they play. So there's my band that I'd pay money to see it, especially since Freddie Mercury's dead, obviously. So is Levon Helm. So that's a weird band in itself.
Oh, I guess let's hear Luke,
Oh man.
and then Jamal can chime in on this too. Then
See, I don't even know where to start. This was my question.
This
but
was your
I-
question.
Yeah. So all right.
What was the original? Was it what was
Creating-
it? How did you say it again? Say the original question.
Creating a band from again, dead, alive.
So it could be
broken
any
up,
genre.
still
It could be R&B. It could be rock.
Absolutely.
It could be right. It could be punk. Is that
Yep.
what? Okay.
Absolutely. So all right. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Rhythm section. I'm going with the Who. We got
I figured that one.
Whistle and Moon. Okay, so then that leads me with lead guitar. I'm going to go John Frusciante from the Chili Peppers. Lead singer Shannon Hoon, Blind Melon.
Ah,
Oh yeah.
And so what's left? Rhythm guitar, is that? Okay,
If-
Keith. Or not,
If you want to add one.
Pete Townsend. I'm basically taking the Who. Get rid of Roger.
Taking the Who, adding
Yep.
and Shannon Hoon.
Yep.
Poor Roger Daltrey. What happens to him?
Hey, Roger's great. Roger's fantastic, but Pete Townsend is the greatest rhythm guitarist ever. John Entwistle is the greatest bass player ever. Keith Moon is the greatest drummer ever. My opinion, of course. So that's my band.
Fair enough.
Good band.
Jamal.
Oh, what's going on? Good evening.
Good evening.
Ooh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know that particular genre, but you know,
any genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Assemble your
Any
band.
That's where you throw Jim West in there. He can do any genre at all.
Oh man, that's tough. I'm gonna go with as the lead. I'm gonna go with my girl Brittany Howard. I gotta go with Brittany. I love her voice.
Alabama Shakes.
Yeah, I love her voice. Now she has there's a it's just amazing. As far as bass, Bootsy. It's Bootsy Collins.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a good call.
The man's a legend.
Yeah.
On the drums, that's a bit tougher, but I'm gonna go with I think he's, I don't even know, not saturated or whatnot, but he always just found a groove and found a whole second career, and that was Travis Barker.
Oh, yeah.
That
And,
Blink?
yeah, Blink-182. Yeah. And
Okay.
and I'm putting Prince on lead on my guitar.
Oh, okay.
So
No one's gonna fault you for that
Yeah,
one.
there you go.
You could have put Prince on any instrument.
I could have
though.
put Prince on any instrument, but Prince is playing the guitar, and then he can back up my girl Brittany.
Yeah, you gotta build a band with Prince, Paul McCartney, Dave Grohl. All those guys that built an album, by themselves.
Yes, Dave. Oh man, that's Dave Grohl. No, still going with Prince.
No, that's a solid set.
Yeah.
Am I missing somebody? Is that
No,
Lee,
I was picturing it. And where the fights would come up.
I can guarantee Prince is going to try to fire everybody. Prince is firing everybody.
Control.
Yep. Bootsy will probably leave. Probably do a line or two. Leave.
But Bootsy's like, I don't got time for this. I got other shit to do.
Yeah. Bootsy will get kicked out.
Y'all killing my vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. And Brittany will sing
I'm
about
gonna do my own thing.
Yep. That's definitely a recipe right there. But
and the Blink guy, like, I just want to get paid. We're still getting paid, right?
I know, right? We're still getting paid,
Yeah.
so I can continue my career. I don't know what y'all are doing. But I can continue my stuff. So
Luke and I had a side chat about Blink, with Mike and Danny lately about just the absurdity of prices and everything these days. So they got a reunion tour, and it's like $1,500 floor seats for Blink.
$1,500.
Yep.
Yeah,
Insane. Absolutely.
That is insane.
For Blink-182 that had, I think, what, two albums? 2 albums, I believe.
They've had many more than that, but yes, two solid albums. Solid albums. I'm on the
This
same
is
page.
a Ticketmaster thing, though. This is a Ticketmaster thing, though, right? I mean, you heard about it?
Yeah.
So Ticketmaster's trying to cut out scalpers, and in the process, they've become the scalpers.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
about
that
the
sounds
gist
like.
of it from what I get.
That is a valid way to look at it, I think.
Do we know how much of that is actually kicked back to the band?
That was my next question.
It's like, there are all these charges built into it, but nobody really wants to talk about how much of that gets kicked back to the band, including the band.
Blink-182 is fighting it, so they're taking on Pearl Jam's
But
lead
isn't
from the
the
90s.
contract
So.
set up at the beginning?
Right, that's my question. Like, that's tour stuff that should have been decided.
Wouldn't
a long time ago.
contractually? Yeah, exactly. At the beginning of the tour, you say, "Okay, I want 50,000 from the Peoria Civic Center or whatever," and so like whatever they can get for tickets, can't they just make up their money that way?
But here's the deal:
The band is guaranteed an amount.
So Al, I purchased tickets for Pearl Jam St. Louis in 2019, and then COVID hit. So we sat on the tickets for 2 years, and they finally rescheduled the tour. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
I could either continue to attend that concert in a few months, or I could give it back to Ticketmaster and get my refund. So we paid $100, a little bit over with the charges in there, but we could either give them the tickets back and get that money back,
which isn't bad. That was 2 tickets.
Yep.
That was
So
tickets?
two tickets for 200 plus. So 100, let's say 110, 120 a piece. So anyway,
that's not terrible.
But here's the deal. If I sold them back to Ticketmaster, they would have put them back online for, again, $1,500. So the band's completely out of it at that point because the band's already got their money.
Yeah.
So it's Ticketmaster taking that.
Out.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but I gotta believe there's something going back to the artist. I just don't think it's that cut and dry.
You're right.
I don't think Ticketmaster's pocketing, in your case that you're talking about, Luke. I don't think Ticketmaster's going to pocket $1,400.
Yeah, it's insane though.
It was 2 years ago, right before COVID, where I paid $950 for Elton John, and it was worth it.
But for one ticket,
one ticket.
$950.
That is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Oh, but it was worth it, and it was great. But to pay $1,500 for Blink, I mean, to me, there's a level of there's a level I'm willing to pay for the artist. I have a legends list. I paid over $900 for Paul McCartney. We're about to see Billy Joel here in November. Those are my legends list. Blink's not on my legends list. They're not worth $1,000 ticket. I'm sorry. It's just not. They're not at that level. I don't. Now, if you compress them with that, what is that Rock Never Stops tour with Fall Out Boy, and there's like a whole bunch of others, a whole day's worth of a festival nostalgia trip. All right, I could maybe be coerced into that if depending on the set list. Depending on the set list.
But you don't get to see that beforehand. You're going in blind.
Oh no, yeah, hell no, I'm not blind. I got babysitters to pay for. There's additional costs here.
For sure.
That's ridiculous, though. I mean, I hope something changes there. That's just absurd.
So, and apparently
I don't think I've ever paid more than $100 a ticket.
I wouldn't.
That's how long it's been. That's how long it's been since I've been to a concert.
I've ever paid was $350 to see Elton John at Madison Square Garden, and I got swag for it.
Nice.
And I still don't feel that. I mean, I got my money's worth. I waited a lifetime to see Elton, so it was great. Sure. But I never would have fucking paid $900.
That's crazy.
No fucking way.
No, the most I've ever paid was $1,500, which was Roger Waters' floor seats when he did The Wall, and that was 100% worth it. That was easily the best show I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, that was phenomenal, and I would do it again tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's interesting how we all value money for what, right?
It's true. It's true.
I mean, somebody's going to buy a $1,500 radio-controlled car, and somebody's going to buy a $1,500 concert ticket. It's how do you value your money, right?
Fair enough.
Now, see, my conclusion with this whole ticket fiasco was, if people are willing to pay that, then that's the new market standard. That's what tickets are going for. So. I think as a consumer, we need to say, "Hey, I'm not paying that," but they will. So whether the audience is full of schmoozy rich people or it's full of young, hip, 20 somethings that are still in college that are paying $20 to $50 for a ticket, that's a completely different story. But I don't know if the band cares at the end of the day if they're just playing.
You gonna pay $2,000 for the next Taylor Swift tour?
We'll see.
You got to know that's got to be around the corner. I can only imagine what those ticket prices are going to be.
Yeah, she just put out a new single or a new album or something. It was
she
on
did,
Thursday
yes.
Night Football.
I just came from a party actually, and two of the girls wanted to come
Midnight.
on
It was called Midnight.
Yep.
It was called Midnight because
and
she talked about
released it at midnight.
Released it at midnight. That's right.
Yep.
Wow.
That's all I know. It was on Thursday Night Football. They did a little thing.
Two
I mean,
girls at the party I just came from said that they wanted to come on Music Rewind and do an episode. And
You went to a party?
I did, yes. I left early for this, for you,
Wow.
for you guys.
I appreciate
Wow.
your priorities.
Yes.
Yeah, that
This
might
is-
have been a mistake, but at least you're here.
Yeah. But anyway, two of the girls said they were going to tag team a Taylor Swift episode, and we're going to make it happen, right, Steve?
You usually got to pay extra for that kind of action, but yeah.
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 You had me at tag team.
It's only a matter of time before someone brings Taylor Swift to the table, and that's going to be a sad day for me because I have yet to listen to a full album. It's not my thing. It's not something that I've ever sought out. I know she writes her own songs. I know she was country, then she went pop, but
does not.
She's a very good songwriter.
I know that's apparently a controversy. She doesn't.
She has not written all her own songs. I know that for a fact because I have a guy that I was an intern with who manages a girl who sold 4 records to Taylor Swift.
Oh,
But
So-
that's not uncommon. Michael Jackson is accused of not writing his own songs.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Ozzy
I
doesn't write it.
understand that.
Songwriter buy it, or he would go to a songwriter, buy it, and be like, "That's it, I get the copyright."
That's it. Yeah,
but
I didn't know
that's
that
one of
was
her
an issue
marketing
with Taylor.
things, though. One of
That
her
she writes her
marketing
own
things
records?
is that she's a songwriter. She's a singer-songwriter, just like Carole King.
Whoa.
Oh, you can
You
be a
don't-
singer songwriter, but
Yeah,
you
you
can't
don't
say
have
that
to
you
write
write
every
all
song.
your records.
Agreed.
All is a very weird word to use. Yes, and don't quote me on any marketing that she's done. I just know that that's kind of one of her things is that she writes her own songs.
I can we could maybe tie in my question since we brought up Taylor Swift. It might be in the answer if you guys want to hear it.
Well, I figured you would because you are one of the biggest Taylor Swift fans that I know.
Oh yeah, for sure. That information I just relayed about Midnight and the being released.
You did have
like
the most
my-
information about her. Yeah.
That's the biggest extent of what I know about her. No, wait, did she do an album called Red or something like that?
Look at Alan with the
Was
information.
it?
Hey,
Yes,
I know this stuff
okay.
too. I know this stuff too. So Al, she recently re-recorded Red because the record label was
Wouldn't
holding it
wouldn't,
captive, basically.
wouldn't give her back her masters, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah,
she-
so she
Oh.
re-recorded it.
They sold them.
Which is-
theoretically,
which
is-
sold them underneath
Yeah,
her,
sold
I
him
guess.
the Scooter Braun and then yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
baller move, though. Who else has done that? I'm gonna re-record my entire album
TLC.
because I want to.
T-
Did they
TLC
really?
TLC did it?
Nice.
TLC re-recorded all of their music
I
and re-released it.
think
Holy
I think
cow.
Toto is doing it.
Nice.
Yeah,
See-
because
see,
they
that's
sold all their
crazy.
stuff off.
Yep.
A lot of bands are doing some of that, and
Yeah, that is the trend these days.
yeah, and some of it's not all good either.
No, I don't know how long that wave's gonna last. Just the idea of selling off your. I mean, there's a gentleman, Ray Daniels, who's a music exec for Warner Brothers, I believe. He's an A&R for Warner Brothers. He had a podcast and he was talking about how a couple of R&B, really, really prominent R&B singer-songwriters, Neo, The Dream, a couple other people sold off their portion of their masters or their publishing, sold their publishing to some of these
Yeah.
conglomerates, Nile Bridges, all these other guys.
Yeah.
He's like, I think The Dream sold 80% of his catalog for 120 million or something like that. Don't quote me on the number, but definitely 9 figures. And he said, well, if it's worth 120 million, just his portion right now, what do you think Warner Brothers or Sony or one of the big three is going to leverage that in 5 years from now? He's like, but the problem is like, how do you do multiples and you figure out all this math on how much it's worth now. What are they using that for and to leverage in the music business moving forward? Which is why, Scooter Braun, obviously one of the guys, bought Taylor Swift's, catalog, her her back catalog, what is he using for leveraging moving forward? So I don't know if it's a wave because he thinks it's just a trend right now to either garner and hold on to major artists, major and minor artists publishing.
What's
in that
happening
respect.
is it's a lot of private equity firms that are stepping
Right.
up and buying these catalogs. Private equity is not in it for a long haul. Turn and burn. They'll turn these songs out and burn them out as long as they can. Then they'll sell it out to somebody else.
But how do you manage the licensing and the sync rights and things like that? And how do you determine that? You know, I'm just thinking in that terms, like how do you even
if you're paying 180 million or something you're getting full rights to everything. So I would think so you would have to be paying I mean, you'd get it. I would think you'd get everything. You'd be able to do whatever you wanted to do with that music.
Wasn't Neil Young just squawking about one of his songs that he sold the rights to and was used in a Monday Night Football ad or an ESPN ad? Wasn't that a couple weeks ago? He was squawking about that. Like,
did he sell his catalog too? Did he sell his publishing?
He didn't sell all of it. He sold some of it.
Oh, okay.
And they used it in an ad, and he's squawking about it. I'm like, well, you can't bitch about it, dude. You sold it.
You relinquish the rights to your intellectual property when you sold it.
You can cry about it, but shut up.
Yeah.
I guess
you got paid. You got paid.
But the question at the end of the day, these large acts, like, so you say Neil Young, you say Taylor Swift. I know Pink Floyd has recently sold theirs. Bruce Springsteen recently sold theirs. Yeah. So do these people really need that money? These are the biggest names in music.
Some do.
Now, hold on. There is an argument. There was an article and there was a segment on the Today Show a while ago. There is an argument to be had, and I don't know it, about estate planning, and that it has to do with estate planning and setting up future generations.
Exactly. Grandkids, right?
I don't know shit about anything about that, but that's what I've heard is that these acts are selling it because there are tax benefits to setting up their estate so they can set it up for generations.
That makes some sense.
But so are those kids never going to have to work? Not even just kids, grandkids.
We're saying
that's insanity. Anyway, I don't think that's a good way to.
I'll tell you that.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, because you've had, say, Bob Dylan recently, you've had Bruce Springsteen recently, you've had a lot of 500 million plus price tags on these catalogs, and
that's crazy to me. To set up your grandchildren to never have to pay a bill. That's.
I mean, but weren't they doing that anyway? If they're receiving royalty or in perpetuity to what their product is.
Yep.
Depends what the original contract was, probably.
I mean, if it reverts back to them, I don't know what. I know some contracts is 5 years, 10 years, or whatever the statute is, depending on what it is.
Bob Dylan signed his contracts back in the 1800s. Who knows what they said?
Shit, right?
Because it's actually 35 years. Record labels don't want you to know that, but there is a law. I just did 2 episodes about this. Guys mentioned the same thing. After 35 years, the copyright reverts back to the copyright holder. Labels don't want you to know that.
Oh.
They don't want artists to know that because all you need to do, one of the guys I interviewed said it costs like $100 to issue. It's a pain in the ass, and it took him 3 years to get it back from the label, but he eventually did get all the copyright information back from the label to his artist. So it's after 35 years, that's the benchmark. I forget it's a federal statute. So there is no more of this labels on it in perpetuity or the 75 years. It's 35 years for copyrighted information. You have the option to get it back, or you can just maintain it as it is. So, and labels don't want you to know that.
Sure.
Yeah. It's not in their best business interest.
But are labels really the future, though? If they're just holding on to the past there, I'm thinking of things like Bandcamp. So if I wanted to, I've got GarageBand on my computer. I could make an album tomorrow if I wanted to. It's not going to be good, but I could put it up on Bandcamp.
Luke's album comes out tomorrow.
Come on, let us
October 23rd.
Let us be the judge of that music that you make.
What I'm saying is, if I put it on there, it may catch. Especially, the 5 of us. If we all start promoting it to all of our social medias, etc. It may catch, and I may make buku bucks if it gets in the right channel. So are labels even necessary moving forward? I'm not saying that it's the easiest route, but
I'm of the school of thought that they are necessary, and they're marketing firms these days. They're not labels in the sense that we might remember them, where they nurture an artist and help grow an artist. It's like, fuck that. No, they're marketing arms now. We'll take care of you as much, and then we'll market.
I agree. They are strictly. I think they're more marketing firms. I had this conversation, that exact conversation back in 2016 with the former president of Arista Records. I worked at his label, whatever. And I asked him back then, because I had clients and they were like, some of them were, I want to get signed by a major, blah, blah, blah. And others were like, this is stupid. Like, just do the indie route. But the indie route, every has its pros and cons. But I asked Hiram, I was like, why do I need you if I'm an artist? If I have my own, if I know how to develop my own fan base and keep them fed, and I interact with them every day, no one listens to terrestrial radio anymore. I could go on internet radio. I could start an internet radio station and just bring on indie artists and do it that way. And what do I need from a label other than the marketing? But you're not even putting those dollars in there. You want a ready-made artist.
Yep.
And me and him,
they have to like the band.
You have
first
to like
put marketing in them.
Exactly. And so me and him went back and forth for hours over this. And I was like, that day is dead. It's not the 80s, the 90s, or even early 2000s when LimeWire and all these mixtape circuits, took off and offering exclusivity for indie artists. And by the time that they got there, because his whole beef is that they wanted, I can't speak to that genre, but I'm like a lot of artists and hip hop artists, whatever, they'll have, mixtapes or previous catalogs copyrighted or whatever. And a lot of labels want that back catalog before they sign them and have access to that. And so I had clients that were like cussing out their managers or whatever, because they're like, I'm not giving you my back catalog for a deal, for signing on pennies on the dollar or whatever. Why would I do that if I can, like you said, go to Bandcamp or be on SoundCloud and I can interact with them directly? What are you providing for me other than the access to somebody to become to market it? So I'm not sure labels. I don't think labels are the future in any respect. And like you said, they're not like what they used to be as far as developing talent or doing any of that artist repertoire or
providing a studio.
I don't even need to. I can
voice coach. They don't
exactly
need that. Or hooking people up with, or like connecting musicians with the other particular. You don't even need that record company for that anymore. You can just.
I could do it over the cloud.
Email or. Yeah,
I can mix a whole record over the cloud. I could be with my artist recording in his room while I'm mixing his record, and before he puts it on IG.
Yeah, so, they were talking about that on the new Ozzy album that just released. All the different players, they just sent the MP3s, and then the musician put their music down, sent it back, and then they weren't even. I can't remember which particular song, but Zach Wilde was playing guitar, and he said the drummer and the bass player weren't even in the same room at the time on one of those songs, I think is what he said. Because they emailed it off and then he did his thing, and they emailed it back and then he did his thing like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a brave new world. However, speaking to energy though, I would prefer everybody to be in the same place. Like just for cohesiveness and because it's, as an engineer, it makes it, for me anyway, 10 times easier if I know I had everybody there than trying to piece it together to make it sound like a cohesive unit.
Some of the greatest albums of classic music have been recorded that way. I mean, that's right. Nothing new. Yeah, I mean, you go back to the Beatles, the Eagles, many others. They were all in different rooms, all in the studio at different times, all recording their little bits and pieces. And then there was some engineer magician who is the true guy behind the scenes that put it all together to make something magic.
Now, Al, I think the guy who did Ozzy's album, his name's Andrew Watt. He look him up.
Yeah,
he has done so many huge acts. He did the last album, or not Eddie Vedder's solo album.
On XM Sirius, they do those they call them town hall or meetings or something like that, and then they bring everybody who was in the band or whoever wants to come. It was one of those. I was listening to it in the car. I caught part of it, but
sure. But so Jamal, I don't know. You might be able to speak better to this than I. But so back you were talking 90s. Let's talk about 90s rap.
Mhm.
So like No Limit.
Yeah.
Is that Master P, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
oh no.
so he's hiring his family, right? Silk the Shocker,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. So is that considered a major label, or was he trying to keep the friends and the family? So are they all just like kind of sharing that profit there?
No, it was a major label. It was a major independent label with a distribution deal.
Understood, but like are they keeping the cash flow in the family, so to say? If he's bringing all of his friends and cousins and brothers into the situation, back to what our previous conversation where the record label comes in and scoops it all up. Was he able to keep it tight?
Yeah, he kept 100% of his masters, but he himself didn't keep his masters. He let every artist on his label keep their masters.
There you go.
And he only took like I think a quarter of the publishing or something like that.
Okay.
And if they didn't want to stay on the label, then he just let them walk with their masters and their publishing entirely.
And
so
Snoop went to them too, right?
And Snoop has said this in a couple of interviews, and I'm paraphrasing, but that was the first time. Like, there's a thing, I'm sure somebody might be familiar with this, like an override. It was something that I learned when I was talking to Hiram, was that, you know, if Luke, you're on my label and you fulfill all your contractual obligations, and you want to go to Steve's label, I can still infer like a 10% override on or points override on your next album to let you leave. There's some other weird shit like that happening where you still have to pay. Snoop said that Master P was the first one that let him leave, period. So Snoop's album called Last Meal was literally the last time that anybody took any of his, I think it was publishing off of any of his records. And Master P didn't invoke or didn't push that on him. Sure. So he let him keep the masters, the publishing and all that, so he could eat off of that. And because he didn't get anything for all that stuff he did at Death Row. So once Master P put him on the game and had to do that, everything after that was up into and including Snoop repurchasing Death Row was what Master P had taught him, basically. Sure. So yeah, let them keep that, let him keep all of that, and he took his off the top from Universal, whoever their deal was. So yeah, absolutely, they get to keep all their stuff.
See, if that's the future of the label, if there is futures for labels,
that's 90s. So that
no, but I mean, for the big ones going forward, that's probably they're gonna have to offer stuff like that, or else they're probably not going to exist.
Yep.
Like we said, they don't really need them. So,
well, I don't know if labels, I can't, other genres, like I don't know if like the deals that rap labels were getting in the 90s and early 2000s, like the Cash Money 90 or 80-20 deal, the No Limit 80-20 strictly distribution deals, the Rockefeller deal, Rough Riders, all these imprints that were under Def Jam or whatnot. I mean, they were getting half, and then the labels were eating all the marketing budget off of that, and they were just taking their 10% or whatever off the top. So like if you in this genre anyway, hip hop or whatever, if you look at like the Mac Millers, the Wiz Khalifas, the Currencies, numerous acts that are quote unquote Chance the Rapper, some of these guys or whatever, indie quote unquote, a lot of them they took that and then they used the perception of indie, but then had a label backing strictly for the distribution fact so they could eat that cost. And all of that came off of the blueprint of what happened in the 90s when hip hop kind of took over and hit the mainstream. You saw the way that these deals broke down, and they were like, oh, well, I can get 80-20, or Cash Limit being or Cash Money being a big one.
And Cash Money was Juvenile and
Hot Boys, Lil Wayne, Juvenile,
Lil Wayne, Lil Wayne started there,
Yep. So
Mystical,
nope, that was No Limit.
It wasn't, okay, all right.
yeah. So yeah, but all those guys. So and then
how many years did No Limit last?
The original Limit, man, that was like early.
I remember them as like a
2000s.
I remember there's like a 2 to 3 year flash in the pan as far as mainstream goes.
I'd say like, well, no, I say mainstream.
Late
I say like
90s.
95. Yeah, no, I say like
Yeah.
94, 95 to about the early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Because
Late 90s
it was like
huge.
them versus the Rough Riders, and then Rough Riders kind of took them over as far as marketing, publicity, and just overall listener enthusiasm. And I'm from an outside point of view, but then you also had Puff Daddy on the outside. He was putting stuff out too.
I think that's a different era.
It's kind of it was like the end of the No Limit era or the middle end.
Yeah, no Limit was definitely on the decline. Cash Money was on the rise, and the reason why you know that is because the first down south artist on a Rough Riders compilation was Juvenile, and so when Juvenile showed up on the Rough Riders compilation album in the late 90s or whatever, pretty much No Limit had kind of lost that basically they weren't the force that they were. So Cash Money kind of took over from that, and then basically had a very similar blueprint, and took Lil Wayne wasn't even really hot like that. No one knew Lil Wayne. He was like 13, 14 years old. So it was Juvenile.
He was in 504. Was it 504 Boys?
Nah, Juvie wasn't in 504. No, yes, Juvie was in 504 Boys.
I thought Lil Wayne was too.
I don't think Lil Wayne was. Don't quote me on that. But I'm not sure he wasn't 504 Boys. But
I didn't know No Limit went that deep. All I really knew was Master P.
No, Master P, Mystical, Mia X, Silk the Shocker, Cain and Abel, Mac.
And Silk the Shocker was his brother, right?
Yeah, it's his brother, who's absolutely trash. He's horrible.
I've heard those names, but I didn't know they were attached
charge
to
it to seventh grade for me. Charge It to the Game. That was on my little Walkman.
Oh man, Charge It to the Game. I had. I wish I still had. Wish my storage unit hadn't flooded. I had all these albums. I had all of these CDs.
When I think No Limit, I think those album covers.
Oh yeah,
those flashy album covers with like Tank and it's glittery, and shiny.
iconic.
And the spine had the plastic going down the middle.
Had the spine. Yeah, because nobody was doing that.
Exactly.
Master P is
memorable.
I still remember hustler of the century. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, who was 3-6 Mafia on? They were on another label.
Memphis. They were on. I don't know what label they were. Well, Hypnotized Mind was the name of their label, but I don't know what major they were signed to.
Gotcha. I was going to say that was another one to throw into the mix there. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've always been intrigued by how labels operate in the business side of it because I was equated.
Where do you put them in the quality of the times?
Who's that?
No Limit. Compared to the others.
The quality of their music. You talking about music quality?
Yeah. Compared to the other hip hop that was in that late 90s era.
Oh,
it's a loaded question because I don't see them as that high quality.
Steve,
it was top notch.
12-year-old Luke thought No Limit was seriously. You had your mainstream rap, Jay-Z's and the Dr. Dre's, but 12-year-old Luke thought No Limit was the
shit.
Yep.
Yeah,
12-year-old Luke waiting for Silk the Shocker to come to the Pure.
Silk the Shocker was my favorite off that label. I love it.
Wow, you are the only person on the face of the planet that will ever say that.
Charge It to the Game was amazing. I love that album.
He had some good records on that one, and I think to your point, Steve, KLC and Beats by the Pound. If you're ever look them up.
Okay.
Right along with Manny Fresh. I mean, this goes, way deep. Like my brother is from there. My little brother's from there. So I'm 42, my brother's 39. So when Bout It came out, 94, 95, I was 15, he was 13. So when we learned about these guys, for me it was new, but for him it was people were experiencing what the New Orleans bounce sound was like. And you've been to New Orleans many times, Steve, so you can hear, if you listen to jazz, you'll hear and go back to listen to bounce music at that time, you'll hear the influence in everything. So
what I liked about
I've tried. Wait, hold on. I've tried. I have tried to go backwards. I have. And with like Ludacris. Yes.
How did Luda come into this conversation?
Or maybe I'm getting the names wrong. I'm sorry. But, Juvenile.
Okay.
That's the name. Because he did some stuff with Dirty Dozen Brass Band. Phenomenal. He did some stuff with Galactic. Amazing. But going back into the 90s, I can't connect it. I personally can't. I've tried. And when it goes to the quality of it, at the time, my vision of it, my view of it was from the top down. All I saw was what was being played in rural Illinois radio and or MTV, which was Master P and others.
Right.
And Master P was garbage. I'll say it. Master P was just.
He knew he was garbage, though.
He was garbage.
He knew he was.
Wasn't
but he
good. So why would I listen to anything else under him? It was
Fair
the way
enough.
I approached it. It was like, okay, that's that guy.
Fair enough. No,
Rough Riders, different story. Granted, I didn't discover till later, but it was still the same general area.
No, I thought their music was phenomenal, just because it was something that I heard. You know, I lived in Maryland, lived in California, lived in Colorado, so those guys never got any play, never got any burn. So when they hit the prime time, they hit the music box or black box, whatever it was, and then Master P's Bada Bada got on the radio, it was over with, and then it was out of here. And I was just enamored by what this infused into the culture, because it just wasn't heard, you know. And so he started out in California, you know, on the indie circuit. So when, you know, he blew up like he did, it was crazy. And then on top of that, it was, you know, the fact that he introduced so much stuff, like, you know, the independent movies.
Where's he out of?
They're from New Orleans.
Is he?
But yeah, he's from New Orleans. But he opened up, you know, the record shop in California, in Northern California and stuff like that. So, but I don't know, your fascination with Rough Riders is kind of creepy, but it's a different. It was, for me, it was just a different vibe. It was a little different time, because, you know, that 4 or 5 years when they were on the decline and Cash Money was on the incline before Lil Wayne took off, when they were still the Hot Boys or whatever, was again something new.
To defend the creepy, there was only two. I mean, from my point of view, in the late 90s, in Cornfield, Illinois, there was literally Master P and there was DMX and Rough Riders. Pick one, because
that's two more than there was in Utah. That's just two more than there was in Utah. I'll tell you that. We had to import that shit like it was liquor. But no, I mean, it was. I loved it. I love the quality of music.
I did too. And back to Charger to the Game. So Destiny's Child was on that album.
Yeah.
Mystical.
Young Destiny's Child.
Fiend, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yes, that's late 90s.
It's a young Beyonce then.
Young Beyonce and LaToya Luckett and them. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. I felt a draw to that too, because there were a lot of instruments on it. So
right.
That's what the rap music that I like. They play their own instruments. You know, they're bringing that style into it. So you're actually hearing written music. You know, it's not like trap where it's just like a beat in the background, which is fine. But I like when they introduce that guitar and that violin and that kind of stuff in there. So I really dug that kind of rap back then, and No Limit brought that. So I think that's why I was drawn to it.
That's why I was drawn to like West Coast hip hop a lot, because a lot of it was drawn on old funk, Parliament, Rolls Royce, all these samples. Warren G, these guys sampled all kinds of other stuff. So I was always in the live instrumentation and how it was sampled. I didn't even know, when I listened to the Chronic, I didn't even know they had sampled Parliament Funkadelic until like I was yelling at my room, and my mom came in and smacked me upside the head, because she was like, "Don't you know? You know, this is where they stole it from," and then broke out the album of Parliament Funkadelic, you know. And
12-year-old Jamal wasn't that deep into, you know, Parliament.
No, I had no idea who they were. Then the song on the Chronic was, you know, make my weed the chronic before I get fucked up. And then I was like, I was listening to that, and then he said, I want the bomb, I want the P-Funk, I wants to get funked up, you know. And then the whole, you know, make my funk, and then that whole thing, I had no idea what it was. And so, you know, it opened up a whole new thing for me. So
that's kind of like a song I heard the other day that I hadn't heard in years. And this goes to Alan, and it goes into one of the things we wanted to cover earlier or later on, which was covers. But I heard Black Cow from Steely Dan. And that 100% is in Jamal. I don't remember this one, but Deja Vu from Lord Tariq and Peter Guns.
Oh yeah, okay.
That is 100% a Steely Dan song.
Had no idea until right now. I was 8 years old when I had no idea.
And until I heard
I didn't even know that was a sample.
Until I heard it on Deep Tracks, that beginning, and it's hard to, I don't have it queued up or anything. I can't play it for you, but that is 100% a Steely Dan song.
No idea. I didn't even know. I don't even know why I never put it together. But I didn't know that was a sample from Steely Dan.
I sent that to my dad, both of them, and he had the kind of reaction of just kind of, yeah, fuck this, I'm out.
Dude, are I guess I really don't other genres like rock or whatever. I guess they don't.
Steely Dan,
steal or not steal, but like or not even sample. I guess really.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Steely Dan is more rock jazz. I mean, that may be the wrong description.
No,
but
that's accurate.
It's not something you would ever think to influence 90s hip hop to that extent, to where the entire bass line and rhythm line of the entire song. I should cue it up to play it here. It was 100% Steely Dan. It blew my mind. That was one that I had no idea, because that was a jam that I rocked out to in the 90s a lot.
Man, I could
don't laugh at me for that one. That was
no. No, I mean, sampling is, I think, in the hip hop world is paramount to the making of the music, and done correctly. I think, and it depends on what effect you're trying to get to. But I mean, I can't even remember the name of the jazz artist, but RZA from Wu-Tang sampled this man like 7 times, like the same. Like the last record on the album, he sampled 7 different times over 7 different records. Very prominent Wu-Tang records, But and you'll never catch it all. You'll never catch it all, as far as even if you look at credit wise, you'll never catch it.
Wu-Tang is one I'm not. Yeah. I am not knowledgeable on the Wu-Tang catalog.
I want to segue here. So speaking of,
well, by all means.
Lost albums, or what are we calling? Sorry. So Wu-Tang, they made an entire double album, and they made 1 CD, and they sold it for millions. So Keith,
okay.
you
sold
need
it to the EpiPen guy, right?
Yes. So
that
Keith,
dickhead.
You need to do an episode on this. So apparently there's this, and it's brilliant from what I've read. So Wu-Tang has this album. No one's ever heard it. The only stipulation was if someone was to hear it, it had to be at a party by the person that owned it. So how amazing is that? So they also put another stipulation on, in the year 2130, it could be released to the public. So everyone that currently knows Wu-Tang is not going to hear it, because they'll be long gone.
That album could be absolute dog shit.
No, from what
it's going to have the mythology around it, and that is just amazing for decades.
From what I've read, it is an amazing album. Apparently, they went back to their old style, and it sounds absolutely phenomenal. So, Keith,
and you know what? Pink Floyd's "Atom Heart Mother" is phenomenal. It's great, sure, but no one's going to go listen to it.
I have never heard of this album. Adam's Heart's Mother?
No.
Sounds like the name of a good one, though. I like it.
Pink Floyd's "Atom Heart Mother" is an unknown Pink Floyd album. It's before metal. It's in their
it's
not
got
early.
It's got a cow on the cover.
It's in like their tween years, if you could give them in their adult life, where Dark Side, they hit their stride. It's got a great solo, or not solo track, but title track, Atom Heart. There it is with the cow. That's
awesome.
There's a lot of experimentation on it. It's not the best. It's not terrible.
It's got Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast, which
yes, that's a great one.
Al has one of those.
You got to be a Pink Floyd fan to really love it. I love it. I'm not gonna say that my friends who are Pink Floyd, fans will like it.
Fat Old Son is a phenomenal song. If you're a Pink Floyd fan, Fat Old Son is classic.
Is Set the Controls on there?
No.
Okay, can't remember that.
Nope.
But the actual title track, Adam Heart Mother, takes up like almost the whole side, so that's a good track. It's another long one, jam.
So
But that's a sidetrack.
But anyway, yeah, do some research on the lost Wu-Tang album because
It's not really lost. It's just not heard. It's not really abandoned. It's just some douchebag.
The feds have it, or the feds had it.
They do.
The feds heard
Yes.
it.
So
The feds heard it.
The guy got arrested, and now the feds have it. So yes, you're right.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
But anyway,
the feds have it.
it just blows my mind that they went through the whole process of creating this beautiful album and just said, "Yep, here you
But
go."
to Steve's point, we don't know it's beautiful, Luke. It could be shit.
Like I said,
Well-
the people that have heard it say that it is amazing.
That would be an interesting one.
But these are people that are friends of the multimillionaire
Could
who's a
be. Yep.
dickhead.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, it could be wonderful.
Because the rappers that actually the Wu-Tang or Wu-Tang Clan members that rapped on it had no idea they're actually putting it on that album. Like they thought it was going on like an entirely different project.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had no
Whose
idea.
decision was this? Was this the
Yeah.
band decision?
No,
I think
no. This
RZA was a big.
RZA was the one kind of put the battery in the back of the guys, but the actual producer, Silver Rings, he's not. I'm not gonna say a lesser producer. I'm not gonna say that, but he's a producer for the Wu-Tang Clan. And it was originally his kind of concept, but he knew the guys weren't gonna go for it because they ain't gonna make any money off it. So then RZA kind of pitched it as an art project, and they didn't know that they thought it was gonna come out and it was gonna be in the museum or whatever. They didn't know it was gonna be on this scenario until after it actually happened.
So the guys didn't make money off of it?
Oh, they got paid up
Okay.
front, but there's there's no, as far as like the auction price or anything off of the top.
But they're
of
not getting royalties.
They're not getting points on this.
Nah, they're not getting points on this. No, nah. So they were a little pissed. But
This
yeah,
is a bit of a, I mean, not a bit of a, this is a gigantic lose-lose deal for the band. I can't believe that they allowed this.
again, you got it's RZA putting it back. Keith, I think this is your wheelhouse. I think you need to do an episode on this.
I need what?
I think you need to do an episode on this.
This would be a great episode of abandoned albums.
Absolutely.
He said no.
Well, maybe I can get Ritz on. Maybe I can get him on. I'd love to get an interview with that douchebag. I wouldn't talk about that. I'd talk about why they jacked people up on the EpiPen price.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah. That whole thing. Him getting into a beef with Ghostface Killer, that whole thing. Oh my gosh. Anyway. But no.
I'll put it in the queue.
It's an interesting story all the way around.
Absolutely. That I would listen to that in a heartbeat. That's the kind of stuff that like you said, you don't necessarily have to focus on the album itself. Focus on the backstory.
Yeah, Martin Shkreli.
That's his
Martin
name.
Shkreli.
That's his name. Yeah.
That fucking.
He's even got a douchey name.
Yeah.
I just know him as the EpiPen guy.
The
He
EpiPen-
bought the EpiPen thing.
that was
and
somebody
Jack-
else, wasn't it?
No, this is him. Same guy. It jacked up the price.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know it was the same guy.
His price went from like 10 cents to $300 for one inch. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but it was
ridiculous jack up. It
Yeah.
really was.
But what did he buy before the EpiPen? Wasn't it? It was meds, right? Before he did the EpiPen. Because I thought the original beef was because he bought the company that had made meds for I think it was HIV meds, and then jacked
probably
up
the
price.
same deal. Bought them and they were cheap, and then he spiked them up. Probably the same business model.
Mm.
And then in order to make himself more beloved, he just buys a Wu-Tang album and then keeps it to himself.
This guy.
Love this guy.
This guy.
I mean, you could be the savior of the people. Just complete beloved if you just release music. But no, I'm just gonna keep it to myself. And
No, I think it was
y'all.
I think it was in the contract. Wu-Tang said no.
Yeah.
You can't release it until 2130.
Yeah. They might as well just beam that shit to space. We won't be around.
Really, I thought that was his decision.
No, I think it was legally binding.
It was in the contract that he
that
couldn't.
changes
he couldn't-
things.
Yeah. That's why it was a big deal.
It's an interesting concept. Like years ago, I was walking through a gallery in New York City, and there was an artist that I liked, and he had a piece that was rolled up in like a cardboard box, you could have it. He would give it to you for free under the pretext that you never take it out of the box. If you take it out of the box, then you have to pay market value for it.
Who sets the market value for the product?
Who says it for art? I mean,
Right.
exactly.
That's yeah.
Who set the market value for that Wu-Tang album? They did.
Mm-hmm.
They said it's worth $1 million, right? So who knows? I mean,
He's a prominent.
It's art.
Is he a prominent artist, or was he?
He's a prominent artist in the art community. I don't think he's not like
he's an artist.
Yeah,
okay,
or Van Gogh or something like that. I mean, he's well known, sure. But it's an interesting idea. Would I have taken it? Yeah, but I wouldn't have had the strength to not open up to see what's inside, and I wouldn't want to pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. I don't have it, and I wouldn't have paid it.
But how would you know? How would you know if you would have opened it though? After you took it,
the whole thing, right? That's the whole thing of art, right? But if I take the whole sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, it could be empty.
Honor system, right?
It could be empty, and that's his art. My art, my art is air, and you have now witnessed it, and that is now $100 million. Thank you.
Yeah.
His art could have been about your conscience. Would you have said that you'd opened it? Would you said you didn't open it? I mean, that could have been his art project. Could have been the theme or whatever.
Based on what I'd seen, I'm sure there was something in there. I would venture to say there was something in there, but I mean, I don't know. Who puts the dollar value on art? Who put the dollar value on the Wu-Tang album? Right? They did. I think it was like $1 million, right?
It was undisclosed, so it could have been $1 billion.
Yeah, it was up for auction. Yeah,
the guy's got it's an investment for the guy that you bought it for $1 million, because then he'll be able to turn around and sell it for $5 million in 5 years or whatever.
Yeah, I think the feds did turn around and sell it to pay off his his debt.
That's crazy. But anyway, Yep, just something to think about. I think that would be an awesome episode if you could get enough research in and like you said, get the right people in to interview. That'd be interesting for sure.
Maybe Elon Musk bought it.
It could be.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost just as bad.
Yeah. Or Jeff Bezos or somebody.
To shift a little bit, we have a category here: your best and worst concert experience. So, Alan, why don't you lead us off there? What was your best and your worst concert experience?
Well, I know the worst one. The worst one, I actually saw Foghat at the Madison Theater, which Luke knows about that, I'm sure, right? So, but I think the biggest problem with that concert that night was they brought their mid-size rock arena sound equipment, and the Madison only holds like 500 people at the most, maybe. So the bass and the drums, they were just booming off the back of the theater, and it was like it sounded so bad between the bass and the drums. It was horrible to listen to. I won the tickets off the radio station too, so it's not like I really paid for them. So I left. That was the only concert I ever left. The best one though, well, it depends on that. So if I could say sound quality, actually Triumph at the Peoria Civic Center in like 85.
Wow.
The sound was superior for whatever reason that night. I mean, totally opposite of Foghat. This was like, it sounded excellent. But as far as you said favorite, right? Your question was your
just best and worst concert experience.
Best. I don't know. It was pretty cool going to Monsters of Rock in 1989 at the LA Coliseum.
That's cool.
Or maybe Guns N' Roses, Living Color, and the Stones at the LA Coliseum, maybe too.
Oh, there you go.
But that has different levels, right? What do you consider the best? I mean, it was the best because I met this most beautiful looking girl that night, or it was the best because we all got hammered and everybody had a good time. You know what I mean? It's like best is really subjective, right?
Best
true.
best on October 22nd, 2022. What does your brain say was your best?
I'm going with Triumph sound quality, and then, well, gosh, you've seen the picture, right? You've seen the concert stubs.
Yes.
Right?
Oh
geez.
man!
Damn.
Oh wow!
So you know
Wow!
what I'm saying? It's hard to choose from.
So you've been to a handful. Yeah.
I've been to a couple.
Those are all state fairs, right?
Yeah, and they've all.
Illinois State Fair.
Yeah, that was actually, I could throw that in there. I saw Johnny Winter open up for George Thorogood.
Oh, damn. There you go.
But what made it fun was, again, I got in for free because, the state cops do the security, and my dad knew a state cop at the time. So I got right up. I mean, I'm 10, 15 foot from the band. And so that was great. I was 17 years old at the time. The beer vendor was selling everybody beer. So we were all drinking beer, and he was trading money for people who were giving him weed. So we had that going on at the same time, and everybody was having a good time. And so I could put that on as one of my best concerts.
There you go.
They all have their reason. They all have their things maybe that made them the best. Or not all of them. Well, a lot of them did.
Now you know why I threw it at you first.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
Who wants up next?
I'll go. Best concert. Replacements, 1987.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Cincinnati, Ohio. Bogarts was the name of the place. They were loud. They were drunk. They were good. They weren't shitty.
They're always drunk.
And they were fun. They were just fun as hell. Worst was probably here in New Haven. Steve Earle was touring. He was redoing Copperhead Road.
Oh.
If you know anything, it was my favorite Steve Earle record. And if you know anything about Steve Earle, he is notoriously sober, has been for years, and God bless him for being sober. That night, if I didn't know any better, I would swear he was using again. I stayed for like the first 4 or 5 songs of Copperhead Road, and then I'm like, I'm out of here. This is just awful.
Oh,
And
really?
Wow.
It was very disappointing. And everyone has an off night. Maybe it was
Yeah.
So, but it was just really disappointing because it's my favorite Steve Earle record, and I really wanted to hear
Same.
it.
Yeah, same here. I got it on vinyl. I found it not too long ago. So that was a great find for me.
That is just a great record.
How about you, Jamal?
Ooh, the worst was a Lauryn Hill concert. Lauryn Hill was by far the worst show I've ever been to. Like,
Was this late 90s?
Yeah, like I don't even do concerts like that. I don't do concerts like that. But this is just after her. She had dropped Miseducation, and I guess she was going through her go-through. But her was like 2 hours late. Came out, was whispering, mumbling records. She was in whatever her deal was. It was not. That wasn't it. It wasn't it. I was pissed because I drove from Salt Lake City to Vegas to go see her, and it was horrible. So, but my favorite was the Outkast reunion concert at Centennial Park. That was an amazing, amazing show. Every act on there brought their A game. They came out. Outkast came out and performed for 3.5 hours, bro.
Nice.
Non-stop.
That is a long concert.
Man, it was amazing. It was the most diverse crowd I've ever seen, and everybody knew all the words. There was no backing vocals. They did all their own vocals, and they were just the energy was through the roof. And that was probably my most favorite concert.
And what year was their reunion tour?
Oh man, 20. I think it was 20. Oh man, 20. No, it'd be like 2017, 2018, maybe. Yeah.
Yep. Outkast was a huge part of 12-year-old Luke's record collection as well. So.
Oh yeah, legends. Everybody and anybody in the.
Aquemini was the one for 12-year-old Luke. He was
amazing album.
Yeah, I agree. So.
that was one of my. I think when I did Steve's, that was one of my final 3. Like
Nice.
It was.
and Quim and I was like, it was right there. Was right there.
Yeah. My brothers both looked that up after your episode, Jamal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
They were like me. They thought that the Stagonia was their first one, so didn't realize there was one before that.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So yeah, that was probably by far my best concert experience. Like I said, large crowds like that kind of get to me, but that was one that I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. So
for Luke, did you do yours?
I haven't.
No, go for it, Luke.
I've got cut and dry, both of them. So Stone Temple Pilots, 2008 or 9, I can't remember. Worst concert I've ever been to. So opening band was the local high school's marching band.
Where was this?
Chicago.
Okay.
So it was it was right on the lake. I can't remember the name of the
Navy
venue.
Pier?
Yeah, it was.
Navy-
I believe it was. Yep.
Pier?
So
Yeah.
anyway, high school band's the opening act. They didn't have that on the tickets or the sales sheet. So we listened to a high school band play their stuff, and then Scott comes on, lead singer Scott Weiland. He must have gotten completely plowed beforehand or the night before. He couldn't sing.
Right.
So he got a megaphone, and the entire concert he sang through the megaphone.
He did that.
It was absolutely horrible.
He did that for
Wow.
a couple songs when I saw him too, and that's why I was asking when it was, because I saw him in Bloomington,
Okay.
Illinois, but he did a couple megaphone songs too. And I was
And he does. He has some songs where the megaphone would be an assist. You know,
he
'cause
did
on
it with
the album-
Velvet Revolver too. He had
Yep.
a megaphone song.
But
Because I
this
saw them
was-
in concert, and he did that too.
So he kind of used it as a gimmick to cover
Yeah.
up his lacking of
plastered.
skill for the night.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, the worst
That's
concert.
a shame.
Stone Temple Pilots, one of my favorite bands of all time. Core, I could do an episode of Music Rewind on Core. I could do an episode on Purple, their second album. But that was just a huge disappointment because I did have such respect for them. The DeLeo brothers are phenomenal. They get guitar and bass. It left a bad taste in my mouth. But anyway, is what it is. Best concert. So 2006. So I'm sure you guys can guess what it is from
Pearl
hearing your
Jam.
rant. Yeah, it was Pearl Jam. So 2-night concert in Chicago. My buddy and I were college kids, only had enough money for the first night. So we went, drove up to Chicago 3 hours, drove back 3 hours, went to class the next day. I'm not going to say which class or which teacher it was, but while I was sitting in class, she said, "Hey, Luke, you want to go back to Chicago tonight?" And I said, "No, I'm completely drained." And she said, "You're a kid. It doesn't matter. You're coming back up." So we went up. My teacher,
Truth to
nonetheless,
that. Yeah.
my college professor gave me a ticket, and when we got there, I picked up my buddy Jeremy. We were 5 or 6 rows back in a Pearl Jam concert, which again, those are
Wow.
the big selling ones. Best concert I've ever been to. Period. We were on Mike McCready's side. It was just mind blowing. It's giving me chills right now thinking of it. That was the coolest experience I've ever had, and again, from a college professor. So anyone still in college who is talking crap about their teachers, just remember they may hook you up with tickets to your favorite band. So
Nice. For me,
Yeah.
for me, kind of ties on both sides. Whereas the worst concert is easily from a experience level Blink-182. So I've mentioned several times on various episodes that bands will. I was stationed in Hawaii for 3 years, and bands will come to Hawaii and give a half-ass concert, just enough to pay for their vacation, and then they go back to their world tour. It's sad, but it gives the locals and the soldiers, a show to see. I saw many bad shows there. Metallica sucked. Tool sucked. Just so many great bands just put on half-ass shows. That's really what they do. But none so much as Blink-182. Man, it was bad. I don't know what the hell that sound was.
That was my phone. Sorry.
I thought your headphones were dying, Steve.
No, me
you
too.
went like this, and I was like, "Wow!"
I
It's
thought
like
we
they're-
exceeded our time limit.
They're plugged in.
My bad.
So Blink came out there and they did an all-day, like afternoon-ish festival. They had several opening acts, which were local bands. The thing is, though, it was out in the Hawaiian sun all day. There was no shade. Everyone was just getting beat down with the sun. Water was like $5 a bottle, and this would have been in like 2000. No one could afford it. we all paid too many for Blink tickets at the time, as we've talked about. Less Than Jake came on right before them, and Less Than Jake was great. They tried their best, and they put on a great show. Blink, by that point, we had already been there for like 4 hours.
Oh wow.
And we were just beat down. Everyone's tired. Everyone's exhausted, sweating, no water. Like screw beer. No one even just cared. People that were drinking beer were already passed out from heat stroke. And Blink comes out, replacement drummer right off the bat. So Travis wasn't there. And then they really just, it was the first concert I've seen that they weren't trying. They were just out there going through the motions and didn't care. And we, despite the fact that we had stayed there for hours to get to them, we left a quarter of the way through. We're like, fuck this. This is dumb. There is no point for us staying. So that was a very bad concert experience. From an artist perspective, I gotta throw it out. Kanye. Bonnaroo 2008. My brother Tony and I. We were there at so Kanye was scheduled to be on the main stage at Bonnaroo at I believe 12:30 or 1 o'clock a.m. Pearl Jam ran long on the main stage. So Kanye got pushed back a little bit. He was not happy about this. Kanye threw a fit, and they said, okay, well, since Pearl Jam's playing for like 4 hours and they're not like leaving anytime soon because they're Pearl Jam, would you like to play on the second stage? And he's like, no, I'm Kanye. I don't do that. So, okay, well, we'll just have to wait and see when Pearl Jam ends. And then we waited. After Pearl Jam ended, my brother and I, we like crashed for an hour and then went back at 2, because at 2:30 he was supposed to start up on the main stage. And this is Kanye's 2008 special Glow in the Dark tour. 3 o'clock rolls around. 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30. People are pissed off. We're just waiting for Kanye, and people are throwing chem lights at the stage. People are getting rowdy. I don't know. It was just everything was going wrong. Absolutely everything. And he finally came on stage about 4:45, and just like Blink, kind of gave a half-ass show, did like 4 or 5 of his hits, and within the first 4 songs for his Glow in the Dark set, the sun was coming up. He waited so long, the damn sun was coming up. It was just an absolute disaster. Everyone was tired. Everyone was exhausted. It was with Bonnaroo. One of the great things is that everybody they encourage your art across all the walls everywhere. So you get a lot of spray painted murals, a lot of indie art. The next morning, after crashing for a couple hours, we're up at like 7, 8 o'clock before the next band starts, and all we see is Kanye is a gay fish. Fuck Kanye everywhere across all the graffiti is everywhere. Yeah. So it was very funny, and as far as I'm concerned, well deserved, because he put on a horrible show. I'm told he did come back several years later to Bonnaroo and put on a good show. So credit to him. But that particular night was bad. It was very bad. For best concert experience, I'm going to go with two as well. One being the previously mentioned Roger Waters, because, I mean, it was the wall. And it was the wall to Roger Waters' vision. He had the money, he had the time, and he had the venue. And damn it, he did it. It was beautiful. Built the entire wall. He had a great band with like G.E. Smith and other guys playing behind him. Oh, man, it was phenomenal. I spent a ton of money on those tickets because I was also wooing my current wife, Michelle. God bless her. She, I don't know if she was into it, but she went to it and she faked it enough that, hey, this is cool. But I mean, man, it felt like we could touch the pig. We're floor seats. It was just absolutely amazing. So I don't know if he's ever going to do that show again, but if he does, I recommend going and seeing it.
Who did lead? Who attempted the Gilmore guitar tone?
Oh, I don't know the names, but there was like three guys.
Okay.
There was three guys that had lead guitar.
Okay.
So G.E. Smith plus two others.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, you really can't put one guy.
Understood.
On David Gilmour.
It took three to replace David, I'm completely okay with that.
But he had a pretty fantastic backup band. And then this is kind of a low-key one, but Warrant. I've seen Warrant 3 times, and I know the lead singer's passed away recently, or semi-recently. Mm-hmm. But some of the most fun shows I've ever seen have been Warrant. Saw him in Hawaii at a place called Gussie L'Amour's, which is the strip club just off the Honolulu airport. Just trust me on that. If you're ever in Honolulu, go to Gussie's. They have oil wrestling on Wednesday nights, so I'm told. And this particular Wednesday night, we were there for the oil wrestling. They wheeled away the pits, and lo and behold, they set up a stage real quick, and Warrant comes out, and those bastards put on a hell of a show. It was literally a hole in the wall bar, and they played all their hits from the 80s. Made some jokes when they had to play Heaven and I Saw Red. They're like, our record company says we have to say these or sing these songs, so they sang like 4 lines from each song. They're like, all right, checkbox. And then they moved on. I was like, all right, I'll give credit there. But then as an encore, they covered Lit, which was weird, but okay. But then they covered War Pigs, which is one of the best covers of War Pigs I've ever heard, was by Warrant. Very interesting. It really was.
So is Lit My Own Worst Enemy?
Yes, that's what they sang.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which was,
I dig it.
It was an awkward moment it was a low part, kind of like, okay, they just put on a great show, singing Uncle Tom's Cabin and all the kinds of crazy 80s hits, and then My Own Worst Enemy. All right, sure. But then I saw him again about 2 years later at the Rock Never Stops tour in Ottawa, Illinois, and that they were there with Whitesnake and several others, Bad English, some other guys, but they stole the show. They just did a great festival set of all their hits, and they rocked. I mean, I got to give credit to Warrant. Great show.
Can I share with you my Warrant story?
Absolutely.
It was in Danbury. I lived in Danbury, Connecticut. I worked in a restaurant in Danbury, Connecticut. And I'm in the back. It's between lunch and dinner. And the owner's daughter comes back. She's like, I think the lead singer from Warrant is out there. And I'm like, why the fuck would he be in this shitty Italian restaurant in Danbury, Connecticut? And it was right off 84. If you know the East Coast at all, 84 is an artery through. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What had happened was I went up there. I'm like, hey, you're the lead singer from Warrant. He goes, yeah. I'm like, what are you doing here? And he goes, funny story. It was right off the highway. And apparently the tour bus got off to get gas. He got off the tour bus to go to the bathroom. The driver didn't know that he got off the bus. So the driver came back in and took off without him. And he comes out from the restroom. The tour bus is gone. And he had to walk down, like a half a mile. There's Holiday Inns and shit. So he just got a a hotel room. And so he tells that story. I'm like, God, that sucks. And he goes, yeah. He looks at me and goes, guess who's out of a job tonight?
That's I think
He
that's
was very
literally a
nice.
scene.
He was
in
clearly
all-
irritated that he was in Danbury getting Italian food takeout from it, but he was nice enough. It was
That's like literally a scene though in Almost Famous, where they leave the lead singer behind. He's like, I'm only the lead singer.
exactly.
That was a shame. I heard when he passed away.
Yeah. They in that book there's a book. What's it? The oral history on the Sunset Strip. They actually, to your point, Steve, they do get a lot of respect and a lot of credit in that book for being a really good live band.
Do they?
Yeah, they and along with Poison. I think we talked about Poison before. But yeah, they get some respect for being a hardworking, good live band.
Who's a horrible live band? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Other than Blink,
other than Blink, who's horrible live band? Good
I don't
studio
know-
band, but horrible live band.
I don't know this from personal experience, but one of my coworkers, she went and saw Hall & Oates. I think it was about
don't
I don't know,
you
maybe-
dare! Don't you
maybe
dare!
it was like 10 years ago, and she said it was the worst. They could not sing at all.
You're lucky your family. You know that?
That is hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm just-
Dog Hall & Oates on my show.
That's the story
Steve
she
sat up in
relayed
his
to me.
chair. Steve sat up in his chair and said, "Don't you do it."
I've
Going
watched
back to
every
your-
episode of Daryl's House, and they're awesome.
They are awesome, but for whatever reason, she said it was horrible.
Probably,
You know,
probably 'cause
going
they
back
can't
to
stand
your-
each other.
Going back to your Warrant story, another band that I would put in there for me personally is Cinderella. Cinderella was one of my favorite all-time bands, but one of the reasons is it was 1998 and it was December, Peoria, Illinois. They're playing at this shithole bar across the street from the Peoria Civic Center. No, literally. It was called the Infirmary. I don't know.
That's gotta
Luke,
hurt.
do you remember? Do you remember, Luke? Or it was right across the street.
That's great.
But anyway, 1998 December, it had snowed like 6 or 8 inches that day. Nobody was at the show. If there was 40 people there, I might be exaggerating. I sat with a buddy of mine who we braved the snow because they hadn't plowed yet or anything. And I sat probably 10 feet from the stage. We sat there drinking in my bar stool. They put on the best show. It was exactly like I had seen them at the Civic Center, 10 years earlier. And they just came out and they killed it. And there's literally 30 people there or whatever. So, and they had my ultimate respect after that.
So
Now, can we?
wait, let me sidetrack there. It's kind of a weird thing as far as Warrant, Cinderella, that era. When I went and saw that Rock Never Stops tour, Warrant followed LA Guns. So
Yeah.
we didn't really care about LA Guns. They're there. But we knew that Warrant was after them. So we went and got some good positions there, me and my buddy, right until the end of their set. LA Guns finished. Roadies come out, start changing things. The Warrant backdrop goes up. Got the barbed wire and stuff. Sure. And then this heavyset roadie comes out and starts playing guitar and standing in front of the microphone and just kind of vocalizing and doing some stuff. And then he starts singing. And I'm like, okay. Good on you, Mr. Roadie. Rock on. No one really knows what's going on.
It's
And
Janie
then-
Lane.
And then he starts singing, She's Only 17.
Oh, Kip Winger.
Oh,
And then when he's done, he's like, hey, I'm Kip Winger. And the crowd erupts in laughter. It was the most embarrassing. I was embarrassed for him. I feel bad for the dude. I mean, it was humiliating. Everyone, and yeah, I mean, I'm not talking like thousands of people. Yeah, maybe 100, 200 people. It's Ottawa, Illinois. It wasn't like Madison Square Garden, but still, the fact that there was a Warrant backdrop up, and it was still in the middle of the instrumental change, as far as they're changing out the drum set, they're changing out everything else, and then he didn't look like any other thing other than a roadie. I mean, everyone thought he was just a roadie. It was so embarrassing. I felt bad for the dude. All you could do is slow clap for him.
Yeah. God.
Poor
Can we
Kip
include,
Winger.
can we include aged folks?
As
So,
in,
Bob Dylan.
oh, my Bob Dylan concert.
Bob Dylan is horrible live. But hey, 40 years ago, maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, you watch The Last Waltz, and it's a great couple of
Yep.
songs. I mean, that's most of what I know of him live in the olden days. I couldn't tell you another one, but I mean, I did see him live in Atlanta, and it was not good. I mean,
and Paul McCartney, love the Beatles to death. Modern Paul McCartney
puts on an amazing show.
He's got the energy, yes, but does he have the
voice
vocals?
of an 80-year-old man?
Voice, he has the voice of yes,
Got that
himself.
warbling thing going on when you hear him in concert.
He relies heavily on his band, and I can't fault him for that. You know, good backup singers and whatnot. But at least he has the energy to run up and down the stage and sing the crowd favorites. Bob Dylan didn't give a rat's ass.
Sure. But still, those are two that come to mind. But I don't know if it counts because they've been around for forever.
Yeah, they're like 80.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
but if you're 80 and you're still playing to crowds looking to see you, as far as I'm concerned, play what the crowd wants to hear. Sprinkle some new stuff in if you want, but play what the crowd wants to hear.
Sure.
Because when I saw Bob Dylan, I saw hundreds of people like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all they were doing the entire
Checking their
show.
portfolios.
Whereas Paul McCartney, down there at Phillips Arena, whatever it's called now, I can't remember, but downtown Atlanta, everyone was rocking. Garth Brooks. I saw Garth Brooks at Mercedes-Benz Stadium a couple years ago on its first concert ever, the brand new football stadium downtown Atlanta. Garth Brooks, obviously a legend in itself, but bless him, he put on a bad show. But he didn't put on a bad show. Mercedes-Benz put on a bad show.
Mm.
Garth was awesome.
Uh-huh.
They had the roof closed, and Garth is loud. They did not know how to properly sound Garth Brooks. It was bad. I mean, every single echo you can imagine. When he says, "And the thunder rolls," you're hearing thunder rolls like 8 different times from 8 different echoes. It was that bad.
Wow.
That's the sound guy's
It is.
fault, though.
It is. You're absolutely right. It was the very first concert in a brand new stadium, and I'm told that they have worked out sound issues since then, but it's just a shame. And the fact that they had because it's a retractable roof, they had the retractable roof closed, that added a whole other level of echo, and it was just that bad. And it's a shame because we were lower. I'll admit it. We got tickets from a season ticket holder, so we were only like 2 echoes up rather than 8 echoes up.
Mm.
But we still got some of the echo. When he would sing, we could see his mouth moving well before the sound hit. But it's just a shame because he's a legendary singer and performer. It was the only time I've ever seen him, but the venue itself fucked it up.
Mm.
I can tie in my question since we're talking about touring. If you want to hear
Go
that,
for it.
So I'm not. Basically, my question boils down to who's going to be filling these concert arenas in 10 years. And the reason I'm asking is because the Stones are going to finally be off the road.
You sure about that?
Yeah, exactly. Elton John, I mean, like these guys are going to be off the road. What band is going to be the nostalgia band or good enough or big enough to bring people to see them?
Pearl Jam comes to mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're
Chili Peppers, maybe.
But
Yep,
then again,
absolutely, Chili Peppers. Dude, they put out 2 double albums this year. In 1 year, 2 double
That's
albums.
unfortunate.
Red Hot Chili Peppers put out 2 double albums.
Yes, in 1 year. I shouldn't even say 1 year, 6 months.
Wow,
It's
I'll
insane.
check those out. Are
Yep.
they any good? They dope.
I thought the first album was great. So second album just came out last week. I pre-ordered it, and it's still not here, so I haven't really gotten a chance to listen to it all the way through. I've listened to the clips online, but I'm kind of one of those purists. I want to put the record on the
so those are
turntable.
2.
No, but I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't know who's going to fill them.
I'm thinking U2.
Does Green Day still perform? Are they together? Or
I
not?
believe
Oh,
so.
that'd
Yeah.
be a good-
Foo
that'd be a good
Fighters. Foo Fighters for sure. I mean, I know Taylor just died, but I think Dave's got it in his soul. You know, he's gonna play until he dies. So I think Foo Fighters would be one. Queens of the Stone Age are still kicking. They not many people know they've been around since the early 90s. You know,
they put out albums so infrequently. Though,
yeah, but
kinda lose
they've got
touch with-
they've got another one in the can.
But are they a big enough draw?
I
Are they playing arenas on their own?
yeah. Oh,
Package
absolutely.
deal.
Queens of the Stone Age are for sure.
So what's the criteria to fill these arenas in your opinion? Is it just catalog frequency, just like cohesiveness? Like what is?
Well, if you think no, I'm just wondering in general, like who's gonna carry it forward? Who's big enough to fill mid-size to the huge arenas? You know, like the big outdoor stuff.
Well, Blink 182, we were just talking about. They're selling tickets for $1,500. Seriously, that's if those tickets are selling.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
the nostalgia bands. That's what it will be in 10 years.
I think what Al's looking for though is the guys in their 20s that are set to be who can be the next generation. And I don't particularly know that because I mean because arena is a key word there. I mean, you think arena rock or arena filling. I mean, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is the levels of Queen or Springsteen or others, guys that filled arenas and changed the game. You know, Van Halen. Is there a current?
Let's just say 80s and 90s. Who's left from 80s and 90s even who could do that? Like Tom Petty, he's dead.
Pearl Jam and Foo Fighters are selling out
Soundgarden,
not only arenas but
Chris Cornell's dead.
baseball stadiums. And that's not just the seats of the baseball stadium, that's the field.
Pearl Jam, I can see that.
Pearl Jam is up there. Pearl Jam has that Grateful Dead style following, and they're going to go on for another 10 to 20 years.
They're not going to tour Pearl.
I don't know if anyone on this current.
I don't think they're going to feel it. I don't
on this live stream can speak.
I really don't.
They might break up. They might. But I don't know if anyone on this live stream is capable of speaking of this. Keith, I don't know you well. Jamal, I don't know you well.
No, I don't think they'll ever break up. I think Eddie's just sick of it.
Yeah,
I think they will go the round of side projects, and then they'll come back and do some more tours. Which because they're smart enough to do that. Mm-hmm. They've been around the game long enough to know that.
It sounds like they've got another album in the can.
Yeah,
with Andrew Watt.
Well,
Andrew Watt is killing it, man. And his albums, and I'm sidetracking here, so I apologize. But Andrew Watt, if you listen to his albums on a hi-fi system, they sound like garbage. He is not a great producer, in my opinion, but he can get people in there and record quick and record radio-friendly type songs. So and that leads back to you should look up Andrew Watt. See all the huge acts that he's done in the last few years. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah.
Well, where were you going prior to that, Luke? You were going with you don't know who anyone can speak to this on the live stream.
Country
music.
There are a lot of country acts that are filling baseball stadiums as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't listen to country. It's not my cup of tea, but there are a lot of nostalgia acts there for sure.
And the new acts are actually selling.
Yep.
huge.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Garth Brooks filled Benz. I mean,
do you think he'll be kicking in his 80s like Bob Dylan and Paul McCartney?
I don't think he'll be doing the Paul McCartney style, sprinting up and down the stage style thing. I think he might be more intimate as far
Sure.
as let me scale it back and give you some acoustic versions without the band of my classic hits sort of thing, which I will still pay money to see because I do enjoy Garth Brooks, but I like you said, I don't have the in-depth knowledge of new country to
Sure.
comment on that. I just don't.
Neither do I, but I know there are a lot of people selling out huge arenas and ballparks.
I will throw out some names though, namely Kings of Leon and Black Keys. I think that both have the ability to do arena style tours and fill them out. If they have the newer albums to back it up, but I don't think Kings of Leon I think will. I think they will try at least, but I don't think they'll have some long-standing decades. Black Keys I think will shy away from that because that's not their thing. They prefer the festival circuit or the smaller
They don't
smaller
have the
event.
They
They
don't have the
do.
sound
Well, no, that's the thing. That is one of the loudest bands I've ever heard in my life.
Just two dudes.
It's amazing. It's
Sure.
like the White Stripes. How can you get so much sound
Local
out of
H.
two people? It's phenomenal. They
Sure.
can do it. It's just whether or not they choose to do it. I mean, Simon and Garfunkel sold out arenas. Come on. I mean,
But
that sound,
they weren't they weren't a rock band. Their instruments were their vocals. So if you're
Mhm.
playing blues music, yes, the Black Keys can fill speakers with raunchy guitar and smashing drums. But I guess
if you're
I'd
going
rather
with just
people-
popularity, then your answer's Taylor Swift. We're going back to Tay
There
Tay.
you go. Yes, that's a perfect answer.
I'm going to throw a kink
Seriously,
into the conversation by putting this question out
that
there.
is huge.
Are there any younger artists that have a desire to build a career like Pearl Jam did, or are they just in it to get a quick hit, get the money, and get out?
There you go.
That's
That's a good
'cause,
question.
what was it? There's
It's a
there's
great
band-
question.
one of those North
That's an
Carolina
excellent
rock
way to put it.
bands- One of those North Carolina rock
Yeah.
bands got back together. They haven't gotten. I forget which one it was. Archers of Loaf got back together.
We
And
were
they
just
released
talking about
a
them the other
record.
day.
A friend of mine and we're talking. I'm like, well, I guess somebody's got a college tuition bill due. It's the only reason they got back together.
There you go. Yeah.
Because going to college, it's about that time. They had a kid, probably around that age. Oh, we can make X number of hundreds of $1,000s. And
See, in
so
my
my larger question is: are there artists that have the desire to build a career? I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I don't either, but I think you're on point there.
You're
for
hitting
sure.
on you're hitting on a great point there. With is it about the art and the ability to make that long career and be a legend, or just to make the money and get out?
That's my logical brain. If I had the talent, I would make one album and sell millions, and then say peace out. I'm going to live in the woods in a cabin. But most people will go out and buy a mansion and spend exuberant amounts of money, and they need to continue doing that touring.
Basically do it wrong.
Yeah.
So then they have to go out and do it.
Yes,
They have to
that's when
support
they're
their
coming back and
lifestyle.
doing their
The
Then
two
when they're
lives
doing-
of the one-hit wonder.
yes.
Right.
So, yep, I Keith, that was an awesome point. You are correct, but I think some people do have the passion, and I think Steve, as you mentioned, Taylor Swift is one of those. I think she's gonna keep it going. So yeah, again, I don't think the five of us are really going to be able to speak to this as well because we probably don't have the knowledge on the country music or the super pop. Speaking of pop, who are the boy bands that are coming out these days?
Do
There's
they even BTS?
yes,
Do that?
I don't know. Do they have the passion, or are they in it for the money? Who
No,
knows?
they after they get
Is
done
it-
with their military
Is that America?
service,
Wait, like, are they from America or is that the
South Korea,
K-pop
right?
thing?
it's K-pop.
Okay, South Korea.
Oh, so that's the K-pop band that's being conscripted into the military over there. Then I saw that headline.
Yeah. I mean, but they were
Yeah,
the
so they're
first
breaking
ones.
up for military service.
They'll be
Damn
back.
right.
They'll be back. A little 2 years.
They're
little
no. Oh,
2
they're
years,
gonna
be
milk
back.
that like Elvis did.
Oh yeah,
clear.
even Elvis did service. Yeah. Elvis
Yeah.
was-
Yeah.
Milk it for all it's worth.
Speaking of Elvis in his later career, didn't
Are you trying to sell the scarf again?
no. Hey,
All right.
What?
Danny and Mike,
Oh, Jamal hasn't seen, or Keith hasn't seen the scarf.
Danny and Mike,
Dude, get the scarf
Danny and
off.
Mike convinced me to keep it.
Go get the
Danny
scarf.
and Mike convinced me to
Now
keep
I gotta
Refer
see the
to
scarf.
our
You got a
refer to our
Okay,
live
go,
stream
go,
for the scarf.
go get it.
it.
Go
Go get it.
Go show them.
I need to wash my hands. I'm sticky with White Claw.
White Claw.
Everybody needs to be in on the joke.
It doesn't matter what he buys. He bought it from Drizzly.
Yes, drizzly.com, people, if that is their website.
Drizzly.
Is there really an Elvis scarf? I'm
I
On
know.
the
I
edge
need
of
to see this. Apparently, the scarf is sounding iconic right
Oh
now.
my gosh.
So Luke has a scarf, which he'll tell the story, but
Yeah.
his aunt was in the at
You're
the
gonna love-
concert for Elvis in
You're gonna
Champaign,
love the
Illinois.
scarf.
He threw the scarf and she's got it, and it's actually got like some of his makeup on it.
Wow. I gotta see it now. I gotta see it.
Oh,
And
and
autograph.
Julience is joining us too. There it is.
Okay.
Oh, and it's signed. I
That's-
forgot that it was signed. That's right.
wow.
I
Nice.
told the
Yeah,
story
it's
for you,
autographed.
Luke, so you don't have to tell it again.
Thank you. I feel like I shouldn't get this out.
So
Show us the makeup.
Julience, if you would like an Elvis scarf
Good evening.
signed by the king himself, Luke has that available.
Come again, sorry.
Would
Here
you
go,
like to buy
sir.
a scarf signed by Elvis?
Oh, right. Oh, great. That's awesome. That's awesome. That. Oh, very nice. Yeah. Good evening.
Welcome to the show, Julience. It's what? I don't know, 4 a.m. over there?
Yeah, it's 4:20 now. Yeah.
Nice. Good morning, sir.
Oh,
Morning.
why are you here?
Yeah.
We're
No,
not
yeah.
that important.
No, I'm happy to be here.
Thanks for showing up, man. And you guys will know Julience from his Neil Young Live Rust episode, like our number 2 episode. Sorry, Luke, it's beating out Quadrophenia. And also his amazing singles that are out right now. You got Alcohol and Cold Eyes, Yellow Eyes. Sorry. Late for us, too.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah. It's all right.
So what were we talking about here, gents? Lost track.
Selling out arenas. Who
Yeah,
legacy
who's
acts
gonna-
coming up to sell?
Who's the next up and coming act to start selling out arenas worldwide? We've given a couple thoughts there.
Yeah,
Julius,
we're
but,
thinking
you know,
later on in life too, like 20 years from
Yeah.
now. Who that is currently topping the charts is going to stick around for that length of time?
you've got your Foo Fighters, you've got your Taylor Swifts, but who else do you have?
Well, you got big acts like if Adele maybe doing quite well. Dua Lipa.
Yeah,
Big ones?
yeah, that's valid. Yeah,
Those are two good ones for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
yeah, I forgot about Adele. She's
Well,
only got like 2 albums, right?
No, she's got 3 or 4.
About four of them, I think.
Oh, 4
Yeah,
now.
yeah, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, 19, 21, and whatever, 28.
25 and 29, I think.
Is she?
Adele
Is she,
98.
is she British?
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
British. Okay, wasn't sure.
Ed Sheeran.
I could see that too.
Yeah, definitely.
We were just before you joined too, we were talking about who has the passion to do it. You know, there are a lot of current artists that could potentially do it, but who do you think has the fire in their belly to continue out, like the Paul McCartneys and the Bob Dylans?
Definitely Ed Sheeran. Definitely.
All right, I could see that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen him at because I work at a football stadium here, and he's played a couple of times over the years. And the passion that guy has when he plays live is it's unbelievable. I mean, he's on the stage on his own basically most of the night, and it's just awesome. He's got his guitar and this loop machine that he's got, and he's whacking away at it and go on and for 2 hours straight. And yeah, it's unrivaled, I think, at the moment.
Does he play that? He's got a mini Martin, doesn't he? A Martin guitar, from what I've read, he's just got a miniature version that he sits up there and plays too, which is fantastic. So, all right, I can see Ed Sheeran as well.
Yeah.
See, all I know of Ed Sheeran is the movie Yesterday, the Beatles movie.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I personally enjoyed. I thought he did a fine job.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
But he's not like he's not in the U.S. style rock arenas atmosphere, I'd say. I know he's huge in England.
Yeah. Oh, he easily plays 80,000 to 80,000 people 5 nights in a row here at Wembley, easily.
Really?
Yeah, he does. He said the last one was a big European stadium tour, and I think he had 4 nights at Wembley, which holds about 90,000 people, and he had to add another night, maybe another 2 nights because it was sold out that quick.
Wow,
that's amazing.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran has definitely diversified his sound since he first came out. So I think that's if anything would help him in that arena is the fact that he's got a lot of music with like some Afrobeat artists, some R&B artists, and things of that nature, like collaborator projects in that arena as well. So
thin line between the new product and project.
True.
Yep.
True indeed.
So here's another scenario. So let's say Liam and Noel.
I'm there.
They make amends. They're going.
Sign me up.
They're going into their 90s.
Yeah. Well,
I think we might see peace between Israel and Palestine before we.
There you go.
That tour would sell phenomenally.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
I mean, imagine. Just imagine the ticket sales from that sucker.
Maybe that's what their whole plan was. Maybe they're still getting together every Sunday for roast, and they've thought this out. They're like, all right, let's give it 10, 15 years, and then we'll do a reunion and
we get Julience to open for them, and
there you go. Yes,
yes.
I'd love to. Yeah, I wouldn't say no to that. No, I'd pay for it to do it anyway.
There you go. So, Julience, I don't know if you pay attention to your views on your website, but within the last couple of weeks, I've been checking out your stuff, and I must say that I dig your style. You're
stylish.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're doing some good work. So keep it up.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. I'm working on a new single's coming out pretty soon, which is actually a cover of a Rory Gallagher song.
Oh,
but hopefully that should be coming out in a few weeks. So working on I've got loads of material I'm working on at the moment, so it's definitely coming again.
And I just found within the last day or two that you're on Bandcamp, so I'll definitely.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you very much.
That goes into a category that we kind of had on the side here as far as possible topics for tonight, which is great covers. What are some of the great covers that you guys have enjoyed throughout the years? Timeline doesn't matter, but just songs that are covers that you enjoy. Jamal, you want to lead you got anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, Michael Jackson's cover of "Come Together."
The Beatles?
Yeah.
He does a cover of that.
Yeah.
I have not heard that.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. That to me, that shit is phenomenal.
I am writing that shit down.
And then there's another one that Luther Vandross did. I was actually looking it up when you called on me. And I had found out he did If Only for One Night, which was I'm sorry, no. If the World Were Mine, which was Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. And Luther Vandross did a hell of a cover on that record right there. And those are just a couple off the top of my head. So like when I heard the original, I was like, damn, they took that from Luther. And my mom was like, no. No. So then yeah, she heard the original. So yeah, those are two of them that come off the top of my head.
Nice.
I'll throw these two out there. I'll probably get shit for this one, but Whiskey in a Jar by Metallica, I think, is
That's wonderful.
it's a great cover. I mean, I love the Thin Lizzy tune, but they just nail it. And I think
Garage Inc. That was an excellent album altogether, which was mostly
what's
covers.
the,
Right?
Well, Garage Inc. has Die My Darling, and Stone Cold Crazy, are both great covers.
and then You Really Got Me by the Van Halen. Off
Yes.
the first Van Halen record. When I heard the Kinks version, I was like, "Who the fuck is this? Why are they ripping off Van Halen?" My brother like, wrong. But I thought that just killed it. Yeah, those are two.
Man.
Nice. Luke, what do you got?
I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. So Hard to Handle,
Yeah.
Black Crows.
Yeah.
I believe that was Otis Redding.
I think you stole Al's.
Did I? Was that you, Al? That's. I mean,
No, I'm still trying to think.
ask anyone off the street who sings Hard to Handle. It's Black Crows for sure. So, but yep, Otis Redding was the originator. But yeah, they covered it so well that most people probably don't know the original. There's so many though. I probably had a little too many of these White Claws from Drizzly.com.
You like the White Claw smokes? We're talking the White Claw. I've had too many of these.
Yep. Drizzly.com.
Do it. Get it in.
Yeah.
What about the
man.
Staples Singers version of The Wait?
Is that a cover? Because the band sings with them.
Yeah, is it on the last waltz?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is sort of that's a collaboration. That's more of a collaboration. I think I saw this happen. It was kind of blurry that night, but I saw the Screaming Cheetah Wheelies at this tiny little outdoor venue in Chillicothe, Illinois, and they came out their very first song. They did "How Many More Times," the Zeppelin song, and they nailed it. It was great. I've never found it on MP3 or re-recorded or anywhere, but it was really cool. Like the first song, they were an opening band. It was like a 3-band concert for a radio station's birthday party type thing, and they came out and did "How Many More Times." I was like, damn, that is awesome. Pretty ballsy to cover that very first song of the night, very first song in your set. So they impressed me.
And speaking of Led Zeppelin, pretty much all of their songs were fantastic covers.
Right.
Yeah. Crickets on that one. Yeah.
I'm ripping off the blues, guys.
Took a second for that one to land, but yeah.
Thank you. I'll be here all night. Tip your waitress. White Claws on tap.
Yeah. Replace Led Zeppelin with Vanilla Ice. You have the same joke.
There you go.
So I absolutely love "Smooth Criminal" by Alien Ant Farm.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I love that one.
that was beautiful. Yes, excellent cover.
That is a good one.
I'm gonna go with the Man Who Sold the World. Nirvana is always a great tune, but also if you look up anything by the Main Squeeze, they're a great funk jam band, and they do some great covers of "Have a Cigar," "Man in the Mirror," "Papa Was a Rolling Stone." They turn those classic songs into 10-minute jam sessions, and they're phenomenal. So I highly recommend listening to those. They are in my playlist daily. The Main Squeeze.
Hey,
Please,
what
everybody,
about,
check them out.
Semisonic's version of Smooth Criminal?
They do a version of Smooth Criminal?
That was Alien Ant Farm.
Semisonic did
That was Alien
The
Ant Farm.
closing
That's what-
time people?
Smooth Criminal didn't.
Isn't that Semisonic?
Oh no, Alien Ant
It is, yeah. It's just a
Farm.
good way to refer to them. The closing time people.
That's all I know them as is the closing time people. Yeah.
Rick Beato had a video about the 20 greatest one-hit wonders of the 90s, and Closing Time was one of them.
They had another song called Secret Smile. That was another one of their hits off of that album, which is a great song too. But
I had their album, but it was relatively forgetful.
yeah,
I mean-
yeah, it was 90s, just
Yeah, I mean,
blah.
I bought it because of Closing Time, and
Sure.
that was it. I mean, that was the only song I could talk to you about.
So they play Closing Time at the end of Georgia State football games, and we play it at my job too to get the hell out.
There you go.
Yeah.
5 p.m. That's all
Jamal, we
anybody
need to resync on our sitcom ideas.
I know, too.
You know,
We really do.
yes.
Yep.
Have you guys ever heard the George Michael cover of Seal's Killer going into Papa Was a Rolling Stone?
No.
Oh no, it
That's
kills.
That's
Yeah.
another one to write down.
Yeah,
George
those
Michael.
are
George
two
Michael did a
really,
cover of
really
it.
good covers. They
And
just go
speaking of George Michael, how about Limp Bizkit Faith?
Yeah.
Anyone? Anyone?
You know, I am gonna sick Luke and Mike after you on that one. Wow.
You guys know Faith by Limp Bizkit, right?
Yeah, we know it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was huge. Come on. I'm not saying I'm a
You think it was
fan,
a
I will,
but
Luke, I will give you this. It was a song.
it was.
It exists. Yeah, it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more white claws, Luke. You don't have to lighten up.
Speaking of White Claws, you can get them at drizzly.com. Like I said, though, there are so many, and my mind's just drawing a blank currently, and I know the rest of you are too. But
Wow, that even booted off Alan.
He's like, I'm done.
yep, no,
I will reiterate though the George Michael thing. I love the version of "Don't Let the Sun Come Down on Me" from George Michael and Elton John together. Fantastic.
Steve, would you like me to ruin that song for you?
Maybe.
Every time you hear "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me," substitute the line "Don't let your son go down on me."
Why would you do that?
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
Never would have.
Yeah. Well,
I don't
Don't
think
let
Bernie Taupin didn't have that in mind. I'm gonna.
no, I don't think he did. No, but that's a great cover. Too. George Michael was amazing. Was amazing.
George Michael, I don't think gets enough credit for the his voice and his because if you remember back to the Freddie Mercury tribute concert 1991 or 1992, that was a great concert, and I had it on VHS. You had George Michael singing 39, which was really good from Night at the Opera. You had Robert Plant singing Crazy Little Thing Called Love. James Hetfield singing Stone Cold Crazy. A whole plethora of artists singing Queen tunes, and it was really, really good. Extreme did a medley of several different songs rather than just one, and they did really good. And that showed Gary Sharon's vocals, and can't remember the guy's name right now because it's almost midnight and I can't think of his name, but his guitar.
That's a good one. Nuno Betancourt.
Nuno Betancourt. That's it. Yep. But yeah, so if you ever get a chance to watch the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, that is well time spent. Really, really good concert.
I love the version of Knocking on Heaven's Door on there as well by Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
absolutely. Yep, that's huge. See, those are the ones that we're missing right now. I don't think there are a lot of those.
I remember when I watched that in the barracks with my buddy Clint at the time. the joke was made that this was probably the last time that Metallica and Guns N' Roses played in the daylight ever.
There you go. How about Johnny Cash Hurt?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a good one.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good one.
Absolutely.
That's a great one.
And that's one that Trent Reznor's gone on record saying, that's his song now.
Exactly.
What about Whitney's "I'll Always Love You"?
Yeah, Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
Dolly-
but no one really took to that version. No one really liked it.
Say it again, Steve.
Underrated cover.
Say it again, Steve.
I had it as part of my intro for the 90s roundtable. Come on, it was there. I gave it credit. That was beautiful. And I didn't know it was a cover. That was another one that I didn't know was a cover.
Bodyguard soundtrack is top 10 selling albums of all time, right?
Oh yeah, The Bodyguard.
That was the album it was off of, but I believe that's one of the top 10 selling albums of all time.
The Bodyguard album?
The Bodyguard soundtrack because of that
Absolutely.
song. Because of that song.
Oh well.
Yeah, you've got The Bodyguard, Sound of Music, and The Greatest Showman are like the top 3, and then like number 4 is Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Dolly built a whole city off of that.
And Titanic, right? My Heart Will Go On, Celine.
Yeah.
Nobody bought Titanic. It's just kind of.
I think it's up there, man. I think that soundtrack.
No, I'm kind of ignoring that one because I forgot to mention it. Yeah, Oktoberfest is great. It's a great beer. Just want to throw that
There
out.
you go.
there. Yeah.
Stop eating raw test.
Where did you get that Oktoberfest, Steve?
Kroger.
No, that's not right.
Drizzly.com. Get your Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah, no, I got it at Drizzly. You're right. I got it at Drizzly.
No.
Damn, I can't edit this, can I?
No, not this lot.
That's all right. All right. So let's see. Next topic. Where are we at here? Overrated bands.
Arctic Monkeys.
Arctic Monkeys.
I disagree. I disagree with that statement wholeheartedly. So their first 4 or 5 albums, they're phenomenal. So good. But Tranquility Base, Hotel and Casino, they're well, I shouldn't say they're most recent. Then they just released one last week.
Yeah.
Both of those albums are an absolute bore. I can't do it. So yes, I will agree with that. But whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. Their first album, I'm gonna say top 10 for me.
Wow, really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
If you guys don't know it,
It's not that I don't know it. I just don't agree.
If we don't know it, leave it.
I don't want to hear it.
Overrated band.
Oh, yeah.
get it. This album right here. This album is phenomenal. Seriously.
This is Arctic Monkeys we're talking about.
Arctic Monkeys. Whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. It will rock your socks off.
All right.
My opinion. Julius.
It was okay.
I will admit I have not given them full attention. It's more been in passing, and my first thought was that's boring.
Okay.
So maybe I need to give them full attention.
This one is not anything. This one is anything but boring. This one is in your face.
What album is that?
Their first album. Whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. Now,
Okay.
their breakthrough was AM. I shouldn't say their breakthrough. This album really put them on the charts, but AM was their mainstream, kind of, introduction to the public as a whole. And then after that, they said, okay, let's completely switch this up and let's do jazzy, bar room in the 40s, smoking our cigarettes, sipping our martinis type music.
Maybe I need to give them a second shot because that's right up my alley.
Well, then you might like their 2 most recent albums.
Yeah, maybe I will. See, my overrated band is U2 and always will be.
Okay.
I gotta go. I'm throwing Wilco in. I don't get Wilco. I don't get it.
And you don't have Danny and Mike here to
defend
Wilco.
Somebody blows smoke up my ass about Yankee Foxtrot Hotel one more time, I'm gonna fucking punch him. It's a shit album.
But
I should have had
love
Ryan
that
on
album.
here from his episode. He's a big fan of that album, Ryan, from the soundtrack to Your Cast Life, and it's a good album. It's not my favorite. I actually prefer songs from their previous album over that one, but it was a good album as I listened to it repeatedly. I gained an appreciation for it.
I don't want to have to listen to something 24 times to appreciate it. If you can't get me after 3 or 4 times, fuck off. I don't have time for you.
That's respectable. Hey, everyone's got their taste, but
I can't argue that at all.
For some reason, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, I will. If you put on your headphones, there's so much going on. If you just kind of just lay back in the dark, sit in a dark living room, just put your headphones on. There's orally, it is amazing. It's a trip.
See, I'm a lyric guy, and his lyrics just don't make sense to me.
Sure. Yep. No.
But I'm both, and so I previously would have said Radiohead. I would have, but
no.
This particular show has changed my mind on that. Particularly, Luke with In Rainbows, and I have revisited OK Computer. I have listened to Kid A. I appreciate those albums much better now than I did 10 years ago, 25 years ago. And I would have said overrated, but I do have a better appreciation for Radiohead today. So I am still staking my claim on U2 as overrated as fuck, and I have no desire to listen to them. I'm sorry, Michelle, my wife, if you're listening. She loves U2, but I don't know. Pretentious. The songs are average. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
And let's keep in mind this is personal opinion.
Personal
right?
opinion.
Yes, we're not trying to offend anyone.
They put a damn song on my iPhone that I didn't even want.
No, they put a whole album on your
Yes, they
iPhone.
did.
The whole album.
They're shoving that down your throat.
Yeah.
But
You
they
will
did not
take
make
this.
it easy to get off of either. I don't know. I like U2 a lot. They made some missteps. They've got a pretty good career. I don't know. I think they're.
I'm with
The
Keith.
interesting thing about U2 is how
Half
they
of
went
Octoon Baby I can handle, but then after that is just garbage.
What was
to
that
me.
piece of shit they released after that? That
Oh,
album, Danceteria or whatever the fuck that was.
Discotheque.
Yeah,
Discotheque.
Pop. That's the name of the record, right? Lemonade or whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Pop as well. Although it does have Stay on that, which is a great song.
Okay, but I think what makes it interesting is like they went from the Joshua Tree to Octoon Baby, right? That breaking point was such a radical departure because he couldn't continue to sing that way anymore. Not as a 33, 34-year-old guy. He can't sing the way he was when he was 26, 27. And that artistic departure, I think, is so noteworthy. And then they took it a little too far. And then they came back. They came back to it all. They came back to us in the late 90s, early aughts with the rock and roll. But I see where you're coming from. I think
really liked the was it Rattle and Hum?
Yeah.
The that documentary where they're like playing in a subway and it's just them as a band jamming. That's awesome. That was really good. But when you get their pretentious shit, I don't know. It's just it turns me off and it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound as good as those early albums did.
But I think they have a good sense of who they are and a good sense of self. At least, did you want It Might Get Loud? Did we talk about that? It Might Get Loud with Jimmy Page, Jack White, and The Edge.
I've seen scenes.
It's a
I've
great
seen
movie to watch.
Yeah.
And
Like I've seen scenes with Jimmy Page starting to shred and Jack White staring at him in awe of just what's happening like right in front of him. It's pretty cool.
But The Edge is he's pretty self-aware of who he is as a guitar player.
Absolutely, and in the movie, he's completely upfront about it. I play chords.
Threw all the distort and echoes onto it. Now it sounds great, So
yep.
much respect for at least knowing who they are.
But they have a sound, you know,
They do,
and that's why he earned a spot in that movie with
Yep.
two other greats. So I mean, yeah, I've got respect for them for sure. But are
So-
they one of my go-tos? No, absolutely.
Has
not.
anyone here seen Sing 2?
No.
All right.
Was there
So-
a sing that I missed?
There was a Sing one. It's an animated movie with cartoon characters. It's a jukebox movie where they take modern music and the characters sing it. But in Sing 2, there's this mythical character off in the wild that they can't get to, who wrote a bunch of great songs that changed the world. And I'm sure you can guess who this character was voiced by now. And it's fucking Bono. All right. Yeah, that's where it was. That's where I'm going with this. But throughout the whole movie, they're like, well, we can't get him. We can't get him. And then you'll have other characters start to play chords of U2 songs. And when I'm in the theater with my kids, and my kids are loving it because it's good, it's a cartoon. But as soon as they play like 3 chords, my wife looks at me. She's like, she loves U2. Loves them. So I just have to sit. I just put my head down, like I know where this is going, know what's going. And then like the finale of the whole movie is no man, I can't think of the song. I haven't found what I'm looking for, and it's like the beginning chords of that are never ending until Bono comes out on stage and the crowd goes wild. Yay! Anyway, I hate you too. Let's move on. Al, overrated band. No, let's get away from you two.
I'm gonna say
Jam, but
Al, you go, because I'm gonna piss some people off if I say what I'm thinking.
By all means.
No, Al, you're up. If you say Pearl Jam, then let's hear why.
yeah, I just felt like after Vitalogy, it was just the same old over and over again with maybe maybe two good songs on one album, and that was it. So they lost me after Vitalogy. I was a Pearl Jam fan, and then I was
I think that they've, and I'm not trying to defend him or go against him. It's just, I think they've evolved in their career to be literally the newer Grateful Dead. And that's newer knowledge to me based on what I've learned of this through this podcast. And also just in my, personal listening to more since Mike Borowski's episode last season or season 1, where I didn't realize they were still freaking touring, and that you had people that were going to 30 shows, 40 shows. So you had so many people going to these shows over 30 years. That's amazing. They are literally the new Grateful Dead. I mean, they've kind of reinvented themselves in that way.
Yep. They have a following, and there are some people that are going to every single show on the tour. They're taking months off of work to follow them. So when you've got diehards like that, deadheads basically, it's insane how many people would do that. And there are the people that will pay the $1,500, like at the beginning of the podcast, we were talking about ticket prices. There are people who will pay that every single time, and they are again setting the new standard for ticket prices. Those are the people that are setting that standard. So yeah, and Al, I will defend Pearl Jam till the end. So
even though they're the ones that actually had a lawsuit against us some years.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. It is catch-22 for sure.
To be honest with you, they did play like 3.5 hour shows. If you look at set lists, they're always a different set list. They always play 50 songs in a night. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. Yep. Every night is a different show. So that's
when you have that many albums and you have that deep of a catalog to go into, rock on.
They play a lot of covers as well, because they don't do a Barbara O'Reilly, but a Who is one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And your buddy Neil Young, they do Rockin' in the Free World.
Oh, yeah.
Every night. So, yep. I'm a Pearl Jam diehard. I will follow them until the end. And I will say that their last two albums, in my personal opinion, they shit the bed. I do not like. And when I say last two albums, I mean last three albums.
I will say there's a great a great 20-minute version of Down by the River, Pearl Jam and Neil Young on YouTube.
Well,
worth a listen.
They recorded with Neil Young, Mirrorball. If you guys aren't familiar with it, Pearl Jam, sans Eddie Vedder, recorded an album with Neil Young. Neil Young was the Eddie Vedder of that album. And then they
had
also
it on vinyl.
Yep. Hey, if you still have it, that's a pretty penny.
I don't. I know I don't. I wish I still did, but nope.
So Eddie was being stalked by a fan at the time, so he wasn't able to make it to the recording. So anyway, he made it later on, and here's what happened. Pearl Jam left, and Eddie Vedder came in. So Eddie recorded 2 songs with Neil Young and who was ever available. So their producer, Brendan O'Brien, played bass. And Jack Irons from Red Hot Chili Peppers was the drummer, and he actually drummed on Yield and No Code, which are both Pearl Jam albums. So anyway, they recorded 2 songs, and they wouldn't allow them to put it on Mirrorball, so they made an EP that was a companion piece to Mirrorball called Merkin Ball. So, yep. So, Long Road's one of the songs, and I Got Id, which is like Ego and Id. So check it out. Those 2 songs feature Eddie Vedder with, again, the band had already left because they had already recorded their parts. So Eddie came in and sang with Neil, and they're both beautiful songs. I Got Id, or I Got Shit is what most people call it. That's one of their greatest, Pearl Jam's greatest songs. Put it on your list, Steve. I know I send you a lot of recommendations.
We've got a guest here.
Chicago Mike.
Mike.
I heard there's some shit talking about some Pearl Jam, so I had to get in. So, I got a text, so I was like, "Oh shit, I got to come in now." I'm all jazzed up for it. So.
Unfortunately,
how's everything else going, guys?
Unfortunately, the guy you want to go at is he's fallen off. Where'd Al go?
So, but speak your mind. Pearl Jam has been labeled as overrated. What is your retort, Mike?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I guess if you don't have not been with them for years, I don't know. I mean, they're not.
He said, I believe he said they dropped off quality after Vitology,
and that's fine. I mean, I get it. Like, I know a lot of my friends and stuff that I used to go to shows with were like, after that, it's, it was that. It was, Vitology, they don't make the hits anymore. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, once you see them live, it honestly doesn't matter. I will say this, and as somebody who's seen them as much as I've seen them, do I need to hear Even Flow or Alive or Jeremy or any of that shit? But to see them live, it's like I'm sounding like a deadhead, but I'm fine with it. I'm fine with being a deadhead about this. Once you see them, and I know Luke feels the same way, because Luke was like, I don't like this new record. And then I was like, dude, you got to see the songs live. And then in St. Louis, he was like, yeah, you're right. This live, it's so different. And I sound like a weird hippie that's been smoked out of his gourd for, 25 years, just listening to the same shit that happened up in Vermont for, back in 72. Who the fuck cares? But it's tough, but I've gotten to a point in my life where I don't have to defend them anymore. It's like, well, I mean, shit, they sell out every place they go to. Every concert they've ever sold out in the last 20 years. And then if their albums suck, who cares? They're gonna play like a lot of the stuff you want to hear anyways, you know. But anyways, what Pearl Jam? Woo, sports. I'm broadcasting live from wonderful Spring Valley, Illinois.
Is that an Italian flag? Is that an Italian flag?
Yeah, this is the Verucchi Rest Spring Valley, Illinois. It's my dad's 69th birthday party, and came out to defend Pearl Jam, and then apparently some witches. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I hope it's going well. I told Steve I was just gonna pop in all pissed up. It'll be great.
But here's the great part: you're drinking a beer. Julius just woke up. It's 4 a.m. in
yeah.
England.
God bless him.
Yep, he's having his coffee or tea. What are you drinking, Julius? Oh, I see a Red Bull.
Gross.
Nice. Nice.
But
I'm touched, so there you go.
Michael, quick question for you though: who is your most overrated band?
Oh, man, there's like 7, I think. But I know we just talked about it earlier this week, Steve. I will say Van Halen is fucking overrated. I'm sorry. Where's he at? Oh, he's not here. He dropped off.
No, Alan dropped off.
I was like, Al's a big Van Halen guy. I'm not a huge Van Halen person. I'm not a huge Stones person. But then, I mean, who the fuck am I? Like, I like, you know, the Decemberists are one of my favorite bands. You know, like, I'm not, music's subjective, but I will say, you know, you're wrong if you think like Fuel or like Puddle of Mud is a good band. Like, that's when you're wrong. Even if you're in that band, you should be like, I was embarrassed that I played that guitar on that band.
What
like,
about
that's
Creed?
how I feel, but oh, hey, where are you going? How are you getting to your sisters? Oh, it's my wife. You guys want to see? It's my wife.
Hey,
my wife,
Hey, how's it going?
Everybody.
I might be dropping off.
Welcome to the world, Marissa.
Back.
Ask her about Creed.
I know, this is so exciting. I'm so honored to be here. Oh my God.
Michael says you're a big Fred Durst fan.
Oh my God.
She really likes Creed.
Hot dog flavored water.
Yep. Yes.
Honey, we're going to go. I can go.
That's all I had.
Yeah, but honey, I'm staying here.
Go do
All right,
what
hey,
you gotta do, Mike.
I'll be back on. I'll be back. We'll see you in a bit.
We'll see you later, Mike.
I own chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. That I will say that I do own that album.
That's a fair statement, Luke. Did you purchase it?
I did. Yes.
You did.
Oh, absolutely. I was a
I
kid.
have it via Kazaa. Back in the day, but
absolutely.
there wasn't much else to download at the time. So
I've got $3 bill, y'all, Significant Other, and Chocolate Starfish all on.
Have you got it on vinyl?
No, not vinyl. No. And
I bet the album cover of a Hot Dog Flavor Water would look great in that size.
Wait, I want to hear Jamal. What's your overrated band?
I don't know if I have in this particular one.
Band or artist, either or.
Tribe Called Quest. Tribe Called Quest is overrated. Yeah, I said it.
Oh,
and I'm ready.
wow.
And I will beef with anybody. I'll take the smoke with anybody on it.
We've got a Tribe Called Quest album coming up this season.
I know you do, and I want them to hear this. So yeah, I think they're completely overrated.
Our recording of Steve, you could be a great intro to the discussion.
Yep, use me.
So, well, here's the thing. So I have not listened to Midnight Marauders yet. My friend Dom, who was going to be on tonight but couldn't make it, he did the DMX episode. He wants to come over. He's my neighbor. He wants to be here when I listen to it for the first time.
Midnight Marauders is an amazing album. Other than that, I don't even understand. I don't even understand and I'm in the culture, and I really don't understand what their impact is. Like I've listened to these guys for over 20 years, and outside of Midnight Marauders, I'm like this, and Fife Dog was, rest in peace, was an amazing artist, but I think
Scenario's not on Midnight, right?
No.
That's the only song I know.
Nah, Midnight Marauders it's a classic. It's a project. There's no standout record. It's just you don't press pause. You can just play it all the way through. But everything else they've done, I don't understand Q-Tip's appeal. I don't. I fall asleep when I hear him rap, and I'm like, this dude there's nothing abstract or genius about his bars.
All right. Fair enough.
That's all I got. They upset me because we
What is that, Luke?
This is chocolate starfish.
Oh Jesus!
And the hot dog flavored water.
Did you get that from Drizzly?
I did, yes. Drizzly.com. Hey, but look at this. When was the last time you saw one of those?
Parental advisory. Who is this?
Why though?
Link. What group is that?
Oh wait, look! There's a second album. I haven't opened this forever. There are 2 CDs in one.
Oh, goody!
Yep, DVD full of extras.
DVD of extras.
2 of shit is still shit.
You have twice the amount of shit.
Does it include Woodstock '99?
I mean,
it's possible. Yes.
Are there any hits on that?
Okay, wait.
You mentioned Faith earlier. I mean, that was not on that album.
This is the second disc featuring Run DMC.
Oh,
it's like that, y'all.
Air Raid Vehicle is on that.
They sampled Run DMC, kept their tracks, and just said featuring.
There you go.
I'm sure they had to pay for that out the nose. So I'm sure that's why they still. I'm not sure if they made any money off that, but hey, no. So Steve, let me clarify though. Q-Tip, the producer, amazing. Probably East Coast Dr. Dre. Q-Tip, the rapper, trash. Fife Dog, amazing. Completely overshadowed by Q-Tip, and I can't even remember the third guy's name off the top of my head. So,
is Busta Rhymes in?
No,
Tribe or not?
No, they were all a part of a big collective, Leaders of the New School, and that was like Busta Rhymes was part of a different crew. That was a different rap crew.
Busta Rhymes was on Puff Daddy's. He was on Victory.
Yes, he was on Victory.
Yep.
Yes, correct. He was on Victory.
So yeah, that was West Coast, right?
No, that was on Puffy's No Way Out. That was after. That was right after Biggie passed away.
Yep.
Back to Leaders of a New School. Leaders of a New School was an official collective, not just a randomness.
Leaders was a different crew. It was Nate. I think, man, and I want to say Native Tongue, but that's not right. So Leaders of the New School was Busta Rhymes, Charlie Brown, and I forgot the other 2 brothers' names. And then Tribe Called Quest was Q-Tip, Fife Dog, and I forgot the other gentleman's name. Together, they were their collective. They've been known each other for years and years and years. And then they did records that collect, like Here We Go, Scenario, like is a collaborative record, which I think is on Leaders of the New School's album, but don't quote me on that. So they were a collective. But Tribe had always been their own thing. They all just came up in at the same time.
Where are they out of?
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So was Busta Rhymes East Coast?
Oh yeah. Okay. Brooklyn, New York.
And Puff Daddy and they brought him onto the No Way Out album.
Yeah, but by that time Busta had went solo.
Okay.
So
gotcha. I was gonna say I didn't know if they would mix the two, but that makes sense. If he went solo, that would make sense.
Yeah, they had broken up. I mean, by the time Busta did Victory, I think he was like 3 or 4 albums into a solo. He might have been 2 or 3 albums into a solo career.
Gotcha.
For sure. By the time he did that.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so it was that's my overrated crew.
Julience, do you got an overrated album or band?
He said Arctic Monkeys, but
oh yeah, that's right. You let us off with
Arctic Monkeys.
Let's hear some more.
Let's hear some more. Dear.
So let's go back to Arctic Monkeys.
Blur.
Blur. think they're rated just about enough.
Just enough.
Yeah, I don't really know many Blur fans today. You know, there you go.
Really? Now,
No, I don't really know any.
From what I've heard, Blur versus Oasis is a big thing in the UK.
Netflix tells me that's
in the 90s it was. In the 90s it was, but now people have come to the senses that Oasis is just a million times better band than Blur.
But Netflix says, no.
Come on, yes, Netflix is always right.
I even think the Gorillaz are better than Blur, even though it's the same guy.
Yep, I love the Gorillaz.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
The best work Damon Albarn is though, is it the Gorillaz?
Yeah, I love their stuff. That's very I can't think of the word for it, but just imaginative. You know, really creative how we put that together.
Yeah, that's one person, isn't it? Is Gorillaz a group, or is it just one person behind the production?
No, I think it's two of them. I know it's Damon Albarn from Blur, but I'm not sure the other one is.
It's evolved, and the band animated is 4 members, but I don't know if all 4 of them translate to actual humans.
The band itself is mainly the one guy, but then he has some guest vocalists now and then.
Right.
De La Soul and others.
Yeah. He's had De La on there. He's had Schoolboy. He's had a few other people on there. But I was curious because I knew the production. I knew it wasn't 4 people, but I didn't know if the production was 1 person or 2. I always thought it was 2 people. But I was curious.
Yeah. So, all right. So last personal thing we've got on here as far as list of things is if you had to have a personal sports entry song, you know, wrestling, baseball, walking up to the plate, soccer, football for you, Julience. Sorry. Yeah. You weirdos across the pond, you know how it goes. Yeah. If you had a personal sports entry song, what would it be?
What's the sport?
Doesn't matter.
Darts.
Wrestling, baseball, you know, whatever, you know, something solo to you, like you're walking up to the plate. You're entering the ring. You're going out to be the solo kicker for your you know el football sort of, you know, solo kick. I don't know soccer at all. Sorry, man.
How about just walking down the sidewalk? What's your badass song? Just walking down the street. What do you want to hear? What's
your Saturday Night Live strut?
Yeah.
It sounds a lot more lame when I say it that way, you know?
Yeah.
It sounds a lot better when I'm thinking, like, you know, walking up to the plate. Oh.
What you got, Steve?
I put a lot of thought in it today, and I'm going to go with Right Now from Van Halen. The piano at the beginning, and then there's the bass kicks in. Dun. I love that tune. And I think that's a great intro song, regardless of the sport. It's a good intro song. That's mine.
I'm going to go Porch by Pearl Jam.
Nice.
There you go.
That is an excellent choice. Porch is a song that many people seek out on their live set list. So I'm digging it.
Jamal?
Well, man, I literally have a whole workout playlist dedicated to this. but I'm gonna go with Mystical. Speaking of No Limit, I'm going with Mystical. Here we go. Probably the coldest bass line in a rap record. And just you even got to hear him when the bass line kicks in, and you already know who it is and you know what it's about. And so Here I Go by Mystical. That's what. Yeah, I'm coming out the tunnel. Yeah, I'm playing. That's what
I apologize for dogging No Limit earlier. Then that's
Oh, I will never let you forget it.
There you go.
we will have our go around when I introduce the MCs versus rappers special episode.
Yeah,
We'll go to town on that one.
Yeah.
Julience, what you got?
So this is the scene. It's the Alexandra Palace in London. World Darts Championship final. Sabotaged by the Beastie Boys.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Dude, yes, that the beginning of that song, yes. Beautiful.
I considered that.
Any sport that would work.
Very nice. Perfect. Is that played a lot over there for in the soccer games?
No.
No.
How about Arctic Monkeys? Do they do?
Maybe it's Sheffield Wednesday or United, because that's where they're from, but not in Manchester, no.
Nice.
But our stadium we play Oasis tunes and the Smiths.
When the NFL visits, that's when you get the Beastie Boys. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's always down south now in London.
Luke, what about you?
I thought about this long and hard as well. So Queens of the Stone Age, Josh Homme's guitar tone is just dirt. And I tried to narrow it down. So Give the Mule What He Wants is a good one. I'm Designer from Era Vulgaris, or I Sat by the Ocean. All of them have that dirty, nasty guitar coming. That's what I'd like to think that I am. I'm a 130-pound white dude, so I probably don't have that badass of an entrance, but that's what I'd like to think that I've got. So if I'm coming to bat, I'm bringing that guitar tone with me.
Excellent. I am going to wrap it up here for the night, though. So, let's see. I want to thank everybody for listening. This is only our second live stream, so I'm really bad at this live. So, I want everyone to please check out Keith's podcast, Abandoned Albums. Great show. A lot of episodes out there. Please give it a listen. Check out Julience and his full set of singles and albums out there on Spotify and all the streamers. Excellent music. Please give him a listen.
Bandcamp. Throw him some
and
cash.
Bandcamp. Throw him some money on Bandcamp. Absolutely. Jamal Millen, check him out on DCB Audio 360 on Instagram for all your audio engineer needs.
I'm not on social media. Don't.
No, Luke is invisible.
Go to
except for Drizzly, except for White Claws.
Get your White Claw.
Luke is invisible other than his alcoholic purchases known to the interwebs.
Oh man.
Please help support the show by joining our Patreon if you wish. We have several levels there depending on what you want to do, but up to you. By all means, I don't really care. Go for it. Special thanks to Bryce Evans, who gave us our new intro music, Sin's a Good Man Brother. Sounds great.
Ooh, hold up.
What's up? Uh-oh. He's cutting off my outro here.
You never know what Luke's going to come back with. It could be, an Elvis scarf. It could
buy my scarf. What is that?
This is what he was talking about on our last live stream.
Oh, he's got the Grindstone mug.
Yes.
Nice.
Help him out. So
that is the album artwork from Grindstone, Bryce Evans' most recent single, and an excellent tune. And he's got he talked about it at length with the how that artwork came to be in our last live stream. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Excellent.
If you join his mailing list, he will send you a few songs right off the bat. So I figured since he's sending me some free songs, I might as well throw him a few bucks for the songs. Bought the mug, got a nice patch with it as well. So join his mailing list. It's
very cool. Hey, let's see. Just visit all the links in our show notes, musicrewindpodcast.com. Please like, share, and subscribe if you ever want to take in more of the show or be a part of our conversation, we'd love to have you. I'd like to thank everyone, Luke, Keith, Julience, Jamal, Alan earlier, Mike briefly. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, now it's good meeting y'all.
Yep, you too. Have a good one.
All right, have a good weekend, guys.
Take care, guys. Have a good weekend. Ciao.
What, Annie?